Yeah, welcome to episode 21. We got Jimmy Corsetti.
All right, so I'm this lost ancient conspiracy nerd. I had no idea when I was going to start making videos talking about the ancients and pyramids that there'd be all these woke archaeologists that have saturated the field that come out and they attack you. I say that I think the pyramids are older and they tell me I'm racist.
Do you think they could replicate those pyramids like today with today's technology?
This is a fun question. So yes, but what union are you going to get to do that?
Right.
Who's going to, you know what I mean? Physically, yeah, we could move blocks and stack them.
I think we can, but it's not going to be nothing like that.
There's enough information that says that the textbook should be rewritten.
Right.
That we were taught is literally completely based on falsehoods, but it's not even falsehoods. It's based on nothing. I think this has religious implications. I think that they want to debunk the Bible. They want to debunk anything that has to do with cataclysms that had happened in the past that would have reset human civilization because they want to keep the man-made climate change narrative going.
Right. Dude, I came across a video you was talking about the swastika.
Yeah.
I had no idea that swastika was found all over the globe and Hitler actually stole that.
So
he didn't steal it, he liked it.
Yeah. So I have come under so much heat for this. The swastika is a prehistoric symbol that dates back 10,000 years and is found on 5 continents around the world.
I heard people for years saying, hey, we didn't go to the moon.
Right.
So I started looking at the video of the moon land. I said, this shit looks fake.
There's some fuckery there. I put this way.
It's been installed out by like some other alien species, and they seeded Earth, and they did all this shit.
Well,
Yeah,
it'll explain a lot if that was true.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not convinced of it. Let me just be totally honest. I'm not convinced, but I actually think it's possible. I think that, when you look at different religious texts talking about how beings came here and created us in their image, it's possible that something like that was true.
Dude, do you think it's a possibility like AI is getting more prevalent in our society? You think they had AI back in those days and that was the end of their civilization?
So this is nothing more than conjecture. This is just fun talk. Like I have no idea, and I don't believe anything. But honestly, what if the devil is technology?
Yeah, welcome to episode 21. We got Jimmy Corsetti. He's gonna take y'all to school on these old time civilizations that got demolished and wiped away. But before we get to
climate change.
but before we get to that, we gotta talk to y'all about our great sponsor. Optimal Human got over 90 ingredients. It's good for everything. Your brain, your heart, and your PP. Yeah. And if you got one, your vagina. And your ass. And your colon. And it's American made. And it sponsors your favorite 2 black guys. What more else do you want? Go to optimalhuman.com/Hodgetwins. Yeah. Yeah, welcome to episode 21. We got Jimmy Corsetti. Yeah. He starred in The Goodfellas and now he has a YouTube channel.
I had a small role in the movie Casino, which is why I'm here in Vegas today. They welcome me right back.
Yeah. Hey, we came across your YouTube channel and you're a very interesting channel.
Yeah.
And I came across this image. It was, I guess, the astronauts found it back in 1965.
Yep.
I sent that to you, Chris. It's the
The Rashat structure. The Eye
there
of the
we
Sahara.
go. Yeah.
Look at that sucker. So that is obviously taken from satellite imagery. This thing is made up of concentric circles. It is like no other site found anywhere else on Earth. It's one of a kind. What's so crazy about it is that most people have still never even heard of it.
Right.
It's gaining popularity in the last number of years because people are correlating it with Atlantis. I mean, I am correlating it with Atlantis.
Yeah, right. And I was one of them. I never heard of this. And I always thought the city of Atlantis was mythical.
Right.
It's a Disney movie.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's that's what everyone thinks. But like I was just saying a minute ago, is that most people are surprised to learn that legend of Atlantis comes from the ancient Egyptians, that they had said that they were survivors that were colonists of Egypt after escaping a destroyed civilization that was blown away in a flood cataclysm.
Wow.
So that's what's so wild is a lot of people think okay, well, Atlantis is a Disney movie under the bottom of the ocean, but when you look at the details, like Plato had described this 2,500 years ago, and there's scientific evidence that corroborates that something could have happened because, and I'll get off my soapbox in a second, but 2,600 years ago, or 2,400 years ago, excuse me, he describes what Solon, his great-great-uncle, had found when he went to Egypt, and they described that 9,000 years earlier, there was a cataclysm that destroyed Atlantis. And what's wild about it is that data now shows that 11,600 years ago, which would be exactly 9,000 years earlier, is the time of the Younger Dryas climate catastrophe, which was a global event where Earth sea levels rose a few hundred feet in a short period of time. And it's like, how could he possibly have guessed 9,000 years precisely earlier, which would be 11,600 years from today? But it's like, you know, is that a coincidence? Is it a coincidence that 5 continents around the world have cultures that describe a flood that happened?
Right.
When now we have the scientific data that shows that it did, or at least at some level. So
So that can't be a coincidence.
you know, and what's wild is that, is it just me, or does it seem like they're trying to cancel Christianity and the Bible these days? Like they don't go out, they don't go after anyone else.
Right.
But
Just the Christians.
yeah, and I'm like, you know what? Here's my little conspiracy: is it has to do with this whole man-made climate change narrative. They don't want cataclysms and natural events that have happened over history to be even part of the conversation,
Because it destroys that narrative. Like
Right.
this is man-made and this is something new. Yeah.
right? They need that to be the case, so that way we can pay our carbon tax and everything will be fine. Mail your check out right now. Let's go. We're gonna save the planet. I'm starting up a GoFundMe to, you know.
Right. Yeah. Have they ever excavated this area?
No. So what's wild? So talking about the Rashat structure in Mauritania, the Mauritanian government forbids any type of digging out there because it's rich in gold. So, and that's part of the reason why, out of all the similarities, I mean, this site is made up of concentric circles, which Atlantis was described to be made up of concentric circles, 3 of water, 2 of land, which would match the Rashat structure if it had water in it, which it did. There's salt deposits all over it. So at some point in the distant past, the ocean had settled and evaporated there. But Atlantis was said to be made up in abundance of gold as well. And it turns out that prior to the discovery of gold in North America, a vast majority of Europe got their gold from Mauritania. That's a detail I didn't know till not long ago. But the details go on, and I'll try not to nerd out too hard on you guys. But
No, that's fine.
No,
I
it's
mean,
fine.
I would like to see them go out there and start digging, though.
yeah.
I
And
mean,
why
it's-
wouldn't you want to dig up that area, because it's rich in gold?
They're right. So this is where things get even more wild, is that France. So like you got to look at like so many countries in Africa, why they're so poor, and then follow the money. So like France owns their gold.
Africa, right?
Yeah, like well, I don't know about every country, but definitely Mauritania, which is where the Rashat is.
How the
And
hell did that happen?
hundreds. So like back in the 1800s, back when Africa was overrun by the English, and they just still somehow have power over there. Like I don't know, it's an exchange of money. I don't know what it is, but like in Mauritania, they speak French and Arabic, of course. Yeah, it runs deep. Like the powers that be of the world apparently still have their influence there.
Yeah, the resources Africa has, they shouldn't be a poor country.
No, this is why you got to look at what happened to Gaddafi. You guys know about that stuff, like about him having universal health care, clean
Right.
water,
Right.
free education, free everything.
And they killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the last things he said before they, can I swear on here?
Yeah.
Of course.
Before they shoved a knife up his ass. You know that's what they did right before they
I
killed
didn't
him?
know they shoved a knife up his ass.
Yeah, right before they killed him,
That's
which is
kinda gay.
so fucked. Yeah, that's what this is about. It was a homosexual thing. This is what I'm trying to say. He
Wow, a
said,
knife up his ass?
yeah, right before they
I'd
killed
rather
him.
take it in the chest. Up your ass?
Yeah, they were mean to him. But this is one of the last things he said before he died. He's like, these people aren't Libyan. He said these people are mercenaries from somewhere else. So the conspiracy is that the Clintons and whoever else conspired to overthrow him because he wasn't going along with the Federal Reserve. I mean, there's different conspiracies out there, but whatever it was, it doesn't seem reasonable that his own people took him out because they had it so good.
Right.
They had cost of living taken care of. Like they were able to survive. They were the richest country in all of Africa, the whole continent.
Libya.
Right.
Yeah, and so there's some weird stuff there.
Right.
Africa is I don't know, it's pretty heartbreaking because like you just said, they have so many resources. Why should they be so poor? Like all that lithium for the batteries that we have, all of our phones,
iPhones?
yeah, all of it's coming from there.
All
The
the electric
Teslas?
You got
batteries?
Tesla? Oh yeah, that's
Elon
right
Musk
on there.
loves that place.
Yeah. They need yeah. Let's not talk about it. Here, we're gonna edit that out.
I like
Get it out of
Elon.
there.
Yeah.
I love, dude. That guy's great.
Yeah, he's great.
Ever since, Twitter or X,
Right.
man, my following has exploded since he took over. And
Yeah.
now I'm making money
Ours
just by
too.
just posting, doing everything I already was.
Yep.
I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
dude. There's people making. You guys, I'm sure, do well. I won't.
No,
but
we
there's-
don't, because we kind of our tweets are like not ad friendly. So
They're not giving you ad revenue.
I mean, we get ad revenue, but it's not a lot.
Okay,
I see some people making tens of thousands of dollars. But
Right.
wow, how the hell are they doing that?
that's what I was about to say. There's some people making bank.
Yeah.
My car payment's covered every month just from that thing. You know, I shouldn't say this because the people that come after me, because I'm like, all right, so I'm this lost ancient conspiracy nerd. And it turns out, guys, like this is the most. I had no idea when I was going to start making videos talking about the ancients and pyramids that there'd be all these woke archaeologists that have saturated the field that come out and they attack you. I say that I think the pyramids are older, and they tell me I'm racist. This is
Well, what's that justification for that? Because you're white?
so. No, they say that, well, what you're doing, the indigenous were colored, and you're saying that they were too primitive, and you're not giving them appropriate credit. So you're robbing the indigenous of their capabilities.
But
and
that's
I'm like,
what they're doing.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying they're more advanced. Like, guys, I literally say that Atlantis was in Africa in the Sahara Desert, and some people think I'm crazy, but I'm like, I'm saying they were African, and you're like,
Right.
you know.
How is that white supremacy? Were you trying to shine a light on how advanced these people were?
Because it's the cancel culture. This is what you do now. So if you want to just get people to shut up, you just call them a racist. And it doesn't work anymore. Now it's like a badge of honor. It's like no one believes it anymore.
Right.
You know?
Can't all the archaeologists shut you up by digging up that damn Renshot, whatever it's called, that Renshot structure? Can't they just shut you up that way? By excavating the site?
You would think the Mauritanian government isn't going to allow it for whatever reason. So I had a buddy. Let me give him a shout out. Josh Sigurdsson. He has a website and he's on Twitter, World Alternative Media. So he went out there after I made some videos on it back in 2018. He went out there with some ground penetrating radar because they wanted to scan the area to see if there was any blocks underground.
Right.
The government threatened imprisonment if they were to use it.
What?
Yeah, to use ground radar, no digging, no nothing. They said if you use this, you're going to prison.
What the hell are they hiding?
That's what I'm saying.
They treating that area like it's Area 51 out here.
It's crazy. Yeah. So and I'm not going to prison in Mauritania, guys. I'm not going to hold up
It's
well
not
there.
worth
Like, poor Jimmy. It's
Not worth it.
He's
They're
not
going
gonna
to do you
last.
like Giuliani out here.
Yeah. Little Julian Assange me too, or something like that.
They probably shove a knife up your ass.
Yeah.
Hey, but I mean, I'm like, when I look like the pyramids, like, can you bring up some of those pictures of the pyramids? This whole area of Africa, just the Renshot structure, this all existed around the same time? Oh no,
As far as what? I'm sorry.
the pyramids, like these big, huge freaking blocks.
So this is the thing. They say that the pyramids are like 4,500 years old.
Okay,
But that's like just the best data they have. They could be a lot older.
How did they determine that? What metric did they use to determine it was 4,500 years?
So they moved some blocks that were on the outside, and they got some organic matter material that was between a few blocks, and that's what they dated to. There's very, very little evidence. However, that's the best evidence they have. But either they were older. So a lot of people think that they were far older than that, and that there was an advanced civilization that was wiped out. It's either that or what we think, what we were taught in school about the Egyptians 4,500 years ago is so far from the truth. Because like in textbooks, like if you were to bring up pictures of like illustrations of what they have in textbooks of them, the Egyptians moving blocks, they show these guys that are half naked and barefoot, wearing like, a loincloth. And I'm like,
rags.
yeah, literal rags. And I'm like, this is not what happened. Like,
bring those pictures up. These blocks are huge.
so this
They
is,
ain't got no shoes on moving this shit.
they moved the largest block. So the average size block is like 2.5 tons, and there's like 2.3 million of them.
Yeah,
But the largest blocks up in the King's Chamber are 70 to 80 tons, and they were moved 500 miles. Guys, they say they moved them on the Nile River, but there's no boat that was known to exist from the Egyptians that could support these types of weights. And by the way, because I know some people would disagree with me with what I just said, so let me like one up them real quick and say that the Egyptians moved a 1,000 metric ton stone, solid piece of stone. It's called the Ramesseum statue. It was moved 170 miles approximately from the Aswan Quarry down to Luxor. Guys, 1,000 tons is 2.2 million pounds. And if you were to look up one of the largest stones that we ever moved in modern times, it's only 340 tons. It's this block they moved to the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. And to move it, they had to custom build a trailer truck that was 260 feet long, had 198 tires, 44 axles. Like, you look at pictures of this. It is and it took a year of planning and cost $10 million. And
Can
that
you
was just
bring that up? Can we Google
type in Los Angeles County Museum of Art stone. And the point I'm making is that was 1/3 the weight of what the Egyptians moved with primitive technology. Like, it is completely inexplicable for 1,000. And by the way, 1,000 metric tons, like 1,000 U.S. tons is 2,000 pounds. 1,000 metric tons is 1,000 kilograms, or a metric ton is 1,000 kilograms, which is 2,200 something pounds. Like this. What was it called? Type in Los Angeles County Museum of Art stone. 340 tons, 1/3 the weight of the 1,000 ton stone I'm talking about. But then type in truck or trailer or just moving, And they called it this is a quote from like the Los Angeles Times, the largest project of its kind. Yeah, this sucker. This is what I'm talking about. Look at that from the aerial view. They had to custom build this thing. Yeah, that. 198 tires, and that was to move a stone that was a third of the weight. So like this is
a third of the weight.
A third of the weight because the Egyptians.
So per stone on the pyramid was a third of that.
Yeah. So
No, that was a third of the stones that they used to build a pyramid.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the pyramid stones are smaller, but like there was a statue they moved that was 1,000 tons.
Okay.
And that's the thing is that they're like, well, maybe they rolled them on tree logs. So I nerded out hard on this and I looked up
tree logs.
Yeah, which is so dumb. Like, yeah, I don't.
Lumberjacks.
Yeah.
In Africa.
Well, you got to do lunges. You got to have strong, lower, strength. You got to have the glutes. You can do it, No. So I nerded out. I looked up because like Egypt doesn't have a lot of trees, guys. They have like palm trees.
Right.
And so it turns out, allegedly, they brought in trees from Lebanon, which is the what do you call it? The Lebanon. Give me half a second here. The tree. It's a. It's on the flag. I was just writing about this the other day. I'm drawing a blank. It's the.
Don't worry, you're having a Biden moment.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. He gets away with it.
Do you guys have some meth cocaine cocktail I can dope up real quick? Just keep me going for a few more minutes. There it is, right there. Yeah. It is the what's it called? The type of the tree? I'm drawing a blank. Forgive me, guys. The cedar. Thank you. The cedar. Lebanese cedar. Okay. Forgive me. So cedar is a soft wood. You wouldn't even use it for your floor. Like if you had like wood flooring, it is one of the softest woods out there. Actually,
there's like plywood.
Yeah, it's weaker than that.
Really,
it's weaker than that, and so it's one of the weakest, or I should just say softest logs. So if you were to put substantial weight on it, that thing would no longer be circular. It would crush it, literally crush it, and that's the best guess. Like, well, maybe they rolled it on tree logs, and so I nerded out. I went looking, and it turns out that tree would never do that. But they never test these things, guys. So like when they have all these primitive methods. Like, this is what I'm trying to tell people.
This is what archaeologists are saying.
Yeah. So the archaeologists don't, like, guys, I don't want to be a hater, but they're a bunch of nerds. I'm a nerd, too. A nerd is a term of endearment, but they've never tried this stuff. Like,
but they're woke nerds.
They are. Hey, anyone listening, like, you got to go onto X and look at, like, the debates and, like, the raging, visceral nature of a lot of these mainstream archaeologists. They've gone straight woke. They all have their pronouns in their bios. They all have. It's crazy. And they're so
These
visceral.
are scientists.
They're not scientists. They like to pretend they are, but archaeologists aren't really scientists.
Yeah.
Like this, and they get so mad when people say it, but it is actually true. Right. It's true. They're not scientists. But you tell them that, and like they get their feelings hurt really, really bad.
Oh yeah, that's how you trigger them, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But this is what I'm trying to tell people. So like people that are like new to my work, a lot of people have probably heard there's like this growing emergence of interest in lost ancient human civilizations. And the reason is because we were taught certain things in school, but if you research this stuff as an adult, you'll see that none of it makes sense, that there's literally mysteries about the ancients that are completely inexplicable. And the only conclusion is that they were more advanced than we were taught. Now, how advanced? That's debatable, but as we're just describing with this stone, they did things that make absolutely no sense. Even the precision of them cutting granite when they didn't have iron-based toolings, all they had was copper-based tooling, which you can't cut anything with copper. It's crap. Like you don't.
Well, it would take
except for wood.
a $10 million truck that had to be customized for one.
Yeah, and those are 2012 prices.
Yeah.
So that would be like 18 million now or something.
Right. Bring up that pyramid again, like the people standing. So how do you think they did that?
Do you
Like,
think actually
personally-
humans built that?
I think, okay, maybe they were advanced civilization back then, but I'm thinking
I think it's without a shadow of a doubt they were more advanced than us.
Guys, this thing was the Great Pyramid at its height before its capstone went down was 481 feet tall, which is equivalent to a 47-story building. So, like,
out of stone,
200 layers of blocks or 206, and it's inexplicable. Like, yeah, you could move like 2.5-ton stones, which is the average. I'm not saying the Egyptians couldn't do anything. I'm not saying they didn't build it. What I'm saying is that whatever was happening in the Giza Plateau 4,000 plus years ago is so different than what we were taught in school. And it doesn't make sense. And again, like I even heard Tucker Carlson talking about this recently, and I was so thrilled to hear him say it. He was giving a speech, and he was pointing out how it is a complete mystery that the Egyptians, we have literally no idea how they constructed the pyramid. And a lot of people are surprised to hear that literally they left us with nothing. Out of all the tens of thousands of hieroglyphs they carved, literally nothing describes how they moved or built the pyramids or moved those massive stones.
It's time to give up our new giveaway. It's a Dodge Ram power truck, and we about to do something we ain't never did before. It's a camper. Not only you get a brand new truck, you get a camper with it too, and $10,000 in cash. Hey, Keith. Yeah. We've given away over $2 million in trucks and cash and prizes. We give them back to the people who support us. Instead of giving money to Facebook to advertise this stuff, they censor us anyway. So I say, you know what? Incentivize our own people to already support us. It's a win-win for everybody. Go to officialhodgetwins.com. Anything you buy from the site gets you automatically into the win. Yeah. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. See official rules for details. Yeah.
It is a real mystery, and it's actually really fun because it should be an innocent topic. Like when I started making videos, I'm like, I didn't know it would come with so much heat. Like I'm not debating abortion here. I'm talking about moving stones and nerdy shit. And but it's like it's wild. Like we're talking about there's enough information that says that the textbook should be rewritten. That we were taught is literally completely based on falsehoods. But it's not even falsehoods. It's based on nothing. Like it's based on conjecture. Like a lot of people don't realize that we have no understanding. And I think that like we were talking about before the podcast started, I think this has religious implications. I think that they want to debunk the Bible. They want to debunk anything that has to do with cataclysms that had happened in the past that would have reset human civilization because they want to keep the man-made climate change narrative going. And they don't want no flood to have happened. They don't want anything natural to have happened. They want it to all be us. But while I'm on my soapbox, you guys should know, and this is something that really surprises a lot of people, is that the entire Sahara was not a desert 5,000 years ago, right? It was a lush green tropical paradise with the largest freshwater lake ever known to exist called Mega Lake Chad, Mega Chad, which is funny, and had a huge network of rivers, and there's studies that show people were all over it, and now it's a freaking dust bowl. And it's like, what happened? What caused... The Sahara is the size of the U.S., the continental U.S. What the hell happened on Earth to make it a dust pit now? Because that's the thing. They don't want to talk about that because that right there is like this tangible evidence that a normal person could wrap their head around to be like, well, that wasn't ancient cow farts that did that. You know?
Climate has always been changing ever since the planet was here.
Yeah.
It's always been changing.
But they don't include that in the conversation. Like they don't want anything about that included. They just want you to mail out your carbon tax check and shut up and don't ask questions. And so they're coming after. Like I have hit pieces on me. Like Media Matters did a hit piece on me a year ago.
Media Matters.
When you want to the truth, Media Matters is coming for you.
That's how you know. And I was talking about
they're the absolute worst.
They're funded by George Soros. He gave them a few $1 million up front, apparently.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much money since, but anything that he touches, you know you're over the target. Because I was talking about ancient pole shifts, which is what I think happened. I think the poles are shifting. They are today. It's happening. They've happened throughout history. It's a fact that inside the Earth's core, something shifts. And like, this is why, I don't know if you guys have heard, they're updating airport runway numbers all throughout the world. Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't heard about that.
Oh, this is wild. This has been going back years. And
What's that about?
So our compasses face north because of the iron core that's inside the Earth. And when it shifts, the magnetic north shifts with it. So that all the runway numbers, like when you're taking off and landing, those runway numbers are just based on the compass. So if the runway number is 1-2, it's because you're facing 120 degrees on the compass. But they've been shifting them because the poles are shifting and it's accelerating. Like this is a whole rabbit hole in itself. And Elon Musk kind of vaguely or indirectly, I should say, touched on this. Did you hear about when he was on the Full Send podcast like a year and a half ago, what he said about ice ages?
No.
All right, so the guys, this is wild. And forgive me if I'm talking too much. You let me know.
No,
I'm a soapbox guy. Like I love, I'll keep going.
Stay on that soapbox.
And you guys gave me this delicious Celsius, so I'm like, I got the caffeine going through me. But he was talking about ice ages being a deep rabbit hole, and then he went on, and I'm quoting him. He said, ice ages are a deep rabbit hole, a deep, deep rabbit hole. And I'm like, what's he talking about? So if you look at the data, like the Earth is cold more often than it's hot, and that's exactly what Media Matters went after me for because I said this on another podcast. And the data shows that the Earth is frozen most of the time, and then there's these windows that last several thousand years or 10,000 years before it freezes for tens of thousands of years again, and it happens over and over and over again. And there's been at least 5 of them in the last 500,000 years. So I'm like, the reason why Elon Musk wants to go to Mars is because he knows that that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying he knows it's going to happen tomorrow or anything like that, but if you go down the rabbit hole involving exactly what he said, ice ages are a deep, deep rabbit hole. The data shows that it's going to be cold again, and when that happens, most humans will just be gone. I think that's the missing link in ancient civilizations. Like this is, I'm telling you, anyone can Google this stuff. Look it up. Google.
That's what you think happened to the city of Atlantis and all these other prior civilizations.
Yeah, I think it involves a pole shift. That's debatable. I can't prove it. Just the data it'd be the most likely thing that because when the poles shift, it causes catastrophic weather changes on Earth.
Right.
They
made a movie about that. What was it called?
Yeah, it's stupid. That The Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, I love that movie.
So it's great, but they blame it on humans. So that's the thing.
Right, I know. It's woke.
Yeah, but it would actually mimic if there was a pole shift. And
that's scary.
It is, and that's one reason they don't want to talk about it. One, because it debunks the man-made climate change thing, and two, I think the powers that be know that the next one's coming. I'm not saying it's in our lifetime, although it would not surprise me. It feels like everyone has this feeling that something's coming.
Right.
And back in the, if you look at the Bible, like with Noah saying that there were signs and that God told him that, and that doesn't have to mean that a voice from, from the heavens told him something. It may have meant that he had scientific knowledge to say, oh, okay, there's another shift in weather coming and we need to prep. And because when things warm and cool, that's what caused the Earth's sea levels to rise 12,000 years ago. There was a rapid warming that happened after the last ice age. So this is very
old. The waters rise because the glaciers melted?
Yeah. Yes. And so that's the thing. So anyone that's listening, they can Google interglacial periods and glacial periods. And this is mainstream science. It'll come up at the top of Google. And the data literally shows that the periods of warming last several thousand years, which is what we're in right now. It started 12,000 years ago. And the periods of cooling last tens of thousands, up to 70,000 years. And I think that's what happened. I think that there was a shift in something, the poles, whatever it is. It caused the glaciers to melt. It caused a 400-foot rise in sea level in a relatively short period of time. And that's where the flood myth comes from. That's why there's 5 continents around the world that have cultures that talk about a flood happen. If you connect the dots, it makes all the sense.
So this cooling, everything's gonna be ice.
Yeah, we're gonna die.
Except for the equator or something. Or,
yeah, like not the whole planet, but like most of the northern hemisphere, it's gonna happen.
If that happens, then Africa, where the eye of the Sahara is at, the Rashat, that will become a tropical paradise again, right?
That's what it would suggest. Yeah, that it wouldn't be so hot anymore. But who knows? I don't have all the answers. Like this is some of this is conjecture, but like something happened.
That's what they did in the movie, right? They went to Africa, right?
Yeah. Which one? I know there was that movie.
The Day After Tomorrow. It was.
Did they go to Africa? No, they went to Antarctica.
What was that movie? Everything was messed up because the Earth's
was that 2012 or something?
It was something like
I think
that.
So.
2012.
Yeah.
Was that a movie about the
at the end of the movie they went to Africa? Oh, it's Mexico or something like that.
I think you're right. I think it was Africa.
We
got them big Noah Arks boats.
I gotta watch that on the flight home.
Yeah.
But is it the crust was shifting in that movie, 2012?
I can't remember. I think so, but I can't. It's
Yeah,
been a
it
while
was
since I've seen the
2012.
one. So that's another thing is that that's all considered pseudoscience. Like they say it's not possible, but I think that actually make a lot of sense that the continents have shifted. And I think it relates to a pole shift. So let me tell you, like, this is what Media Matters tried to debunk me on. Just for talking about this on a podcast, they did a hit piece on me, saying and so I suggested that if the inside of the Earth's core shifts, the mainstream science, they'll tell you there's going to be no changes. It'll be fine. It could cause some electrical grid problems and satellite communication issues and maybe some weather interruptions. And I'm like, first of all, if the power grid goes down, bro, that in itself will be apocalyptic.
Complete chaos.
Yeah. No, like seriously, you wouldn't even be able to pump your gas.
Yeah, right.
City water pumps.
Everything's digital.
Yeah, would be screwed. But I'm thinking like, all right, so if something shifts inside the Earth, and when things shift inside the Earth, it causes earthquakes. Why wouldn't, if there was a
volcano eruptions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that happen? Like if the ball of iron, the molten ball of iron that's allegedly inside the Earth, if that shifts, why would that not cause problems on the surface?
Yeah.
Because we're literally floating on it. Our continental
It
shelves,
stabilized the entire Earth.
Yeah. And if we're floating on this magma that's underneath the surface, if something shifts underneath that, why would that not cause problems? And so I think that rapid continental displacement, as you'd call it, probably happened.
That's what they call it
because they
in the
said
movie,
everything
too.
was together. Like Africa used to be touching, like all this used to be hooked up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just been doing like this.
Yeah.
Spread.
You know what? When I think about history and what I learned in school, Everybody always brings up Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, that
You know,
asshole. that guy's a piece of shit. That guy's a rapist.
Right. While we celebrate him, and then on top of that, when I think of Africa, it's synonymous with slavery and lack of culture. I mean, not lack of culture, but lack of technology. Just very poor, inept people.
Right. You know what's wild? So I am completely anti-woke. Like when I see all these people bringing down statues and everything, I'm repulsed. But the one thing, and people can make fun of me all they want, but I'm like, when they should tear down Christopher Columbus statues. He didn't discover America.
Right.
He
was already here.
Right.
And he got lost. That's why he found it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, a lot of people don't realize, like, he was literally, they weren't searching for the New World. They were looking for gold in India. Yeah. And they got lost.
That's why he called the people here Indians.
Exactly. That's the truth. And so I'm like, get rid of him. Like a lot of people, I notice every year people will start say indigenous, Native Day instead of Christopher Columbus Day. I actually support that because I'm like, that guy he was bad. Like him and his legions of boats like decimated the people. They were like gang raping the women, the natives, and like they were like evil. They were not good people. They were scoundrels. They were pirates. Like they were, they weren't like good guys like looking for something. They were for new land. They were just looking for gold. And they were willing to kill people for it. Yeah. Right. They shouldn't be celebrated. Like that guy's trash. I think they should teach about him. Be like, hey, this is how not to be. This guy was dirty as it gets.
Right.
And so, I don't know. Yeah, cancel his ass. Fine.
It seems like everybody's after a narrative, and they're not after the truth.
Yeah.
Like told Christopher Columbus, Africa.
Yeah, media matters. It's like they have their own agenda. You should, like whenever you're a journalist or somebody, a scientist, you should be looking for the truth. Your agenda or what you think shouldn't even matter. You should be seeking the truth, and nobody wants to do that anymore.
You know what it is? So a lot of these scientists are like, think about it. A common denominator with scientists is most of them are like atheists. So they don't believe in a creator. But like it's in human nature to believe in something. So I think they look at their textbooks and their wisdom. That's what they believe in. So when you question that, like if you go up to someone that's a hardcore religious person, you tell them God doesn't exist, they get mad. You tell somebody like that they strongly believe in anything, just like whether it's politics or anything else, people get defensive. Like you're questioning your entire existence and what you know. Right. And so that's how it is with these scientists, is that that's what they believe in. They believe in the science. And when you question it, they lose their minds. Like they respond viciously.
Textbook case of a confirmation bias.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to trash Christopher Columbus.
Yeah. Look at us solve the world's problems here.
They say he was the only one. I think there had to been, I mean, if they're building these pyramids in Africa, I'm thinking they had the technology to sell the world.
Yes.
You would think.
So there's all these similarities that go across the continents, like stonework that looks remarkably similar between Egypt and Peru.
Right.
And so that's what they teach. They're like, in 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and that's the end of it. And I'm like, no. Like
they're hiding something.
Right? And why couldn't humans in ancient times have built a boat and sailed? They would. Like humans are really curious. Like you get some person that loves to go exploring and they'll risk their whole life to do it. It makes no sense that they couldn't have built a boat and done it. And there's evidence that strongly supports it, that there's similarities, like I was just mentioning, that go across multiple continents around the world, whether it's polygonal stones, like polygonal stones that are all those weird shapes that are found in 4 continents around the world. Pyramids are found in 4 continents around the world.
Dude, I came across a video you was talking about the swastika.
Yeah.
I had no idea that swastika was found all over the globe, and Hitler actually stole that.
Yeah. So this is...
He didn't steal it. He liked it.
Yeah. So I have come under so much heat for this. I've been waiting. Like I backburned that for a few years. Like I learned that the swastika is a prehistoric symbol that dates back 10,000 years and is found on 5 continents around the world: Asia, Africa, North America, Europe, South America.
Dude, in your video, I saw a Native American with that around his head.
Can we Google that?
Yeah. So if you typed in Hopewell Mound people swastika or just Native American swastika, it dates back in North America more than 22 to possibly 2,500 years ago.
What's the significance of that symbol? What does it really...
So this is debatable. Like some people think it means the Milky Way galaxy and like the stars shifting. Like it's I don't think anyone knows for sure. Right. But it has one thing it has always meant, like whether it's dating back from ancient Hindu, thousands of years, it's a symbol of peace.
There it is.
And again, 5 continents around the world, prehistoric times. This has nothing to do with Hitler. I tell people, because now a bunch of people are saying Jimmy Corsetti, they're trying to tie me to anti-Semitism. I'm like, this has nothing to do with Hitler. Like Hitler, like this is thousands of years before him.
Yeah, click that one, Chris, with the head feathers on.
Yep, ancient Navajo, or I shouldn't say ancient, but Navajo.
Yeah, he is ancient.
Yeah, look at him.
Can you make that? It doesn't get any bigger.
And that one's from like 100 years ago, whatever. But the symbol from Native Americans dates back thousands of years ago, and it's all over the American Southwest. The Navajo, the Hopi Indian, the Yavapai Indian, to name a few. It's even as far away as Alaska.
So Hitler saw this Indian smoking on his peace pipe.
Yeah.
Man, I like that little insignia he got going.
The one thing I can't find an answer to is why he chose this symbol. Like, there's all kinds of conjecture, but I'm like, he was obsessed with archaeology. A lot of people don't know this. He went looking for Thor's hammer, the Ark of the Covenant, and the Holy Grail, and other things. He was looking for giants in Africa. He had a task force of them looking and doing. They called it Nazi archaeology. This is a real thing. People can Google this. This is an established fact. So people think like, oh, he's talking about Indiana Jones here. Like, no, Indiana Jones was inspired based on true events. Loosely inspired, that the Nazis did go look for ancient archaeology. And I can't figure out why. And modern people say, it's because he was obsessed with the Aryans. He cared about this white race. I'm like, just stop for a second. Like, this has nothing to do with color of skin. This has to do with something that was found 10,000 years ago on 5 different continents. And so I made a Twitter post last September of showing the swastika at Baalbek in Lebanon. And the Twitter post was, did Hitler and the Nazis know something about ancient civilizations that we don't? That's the tweet. And I got obliterated. Like Jimmy Corsetti, archaeologists were saying this, like professors were saying Jimmy Corsetti is spreading disgusting Nazism. And I'm like, no, I'm not. It's a sincere question. Like, why this symbol is nothing. All right.
It's almost like
Hitler. All right. There, I cover my base. Like, fuck Hitler. Like, fuck this guy. I don't, but like, put aside the modern ideology aside for a second, and let's focus on the ancient stuff. Like, there's, he obviously, in my impression, he knew something we didn't.
He had to, because that symbol is it's almost like they're 2 steps ahead of you. When you start bringing these things up, it's like they already got a answer to refute what you're saying. Oh, we're just going to call him a white supremacist and get him counseled. So whatever you say, they're not going to take serious.
Right.
For him to have that symbol, you have to have known the significance behind that symbol, because it's like you said, it's found thousands of years ago.
Right. That's what I think. I want to know why. Like, if I go back in time, because you got to preface it like, all right, fine, I'd shoot Hitler. But before I do, I'm going to waterboard him for some answers about the archaeology. Like, tell me what'd you know about the Ark of the Covenant? Speak up. Hurry up. Yeah, it's wild, but that's the thing. So you can't talk about it. Like, people instantly shut down, like, when you bring up the swastika, because it's it's an upsetting symbol. But I'm like, it was once a symbol of peace, and it meant something to different people.
I thought Hitler invented that symbol. Yeah, but
that's what everyone thinks. That's what you think.
The most important thing about that symbol is he didn't create it. It's like it's like the Nike logo. Y'all could use the Nike logo for hate and evil, and you can say, hey, it's a simple hate. No, I took the symbol because I liked it. And I did all for things. That's the same thing with that swastika.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's wild. Like, yeah, so you saw me posting about that? Or
yeah, so that's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's touchy. It's explosive and provocative, but like, I don't care. Like, in my mind, like, I know where my heart's at, and people who know me know where my heart's at. So I'm like, if people can't handle it, like, now's the time to be provocative. Like, this world's falling apart. The entire education system has been corrupted. They're teaching trash in school. They're not teaching anyone to ask questions. And
they're teaching them they're not teaching them how to think. They're telling them what to think.
Yeah. Just sit here and be quiet too.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's such a liberal mindset. You don't question anything. The government is good. Do what they tell you to do. They got our best interests.
Right.
But you don't supposed to second guess anything.
Right. And hey, the thing is, like, I can appreciate how, like, that mindset, because that was once me. Like, so I was a high school senior in 9/11, and then I ended up volunteering a couple years after I got to high school to go volunteer to go to Iraq, because I believe George Bush's lies and all that. So like, I know
all that. Oh man, thank God you made it back. Yeah.
Yeah. But at one point, like, I was literally having fierce arguments with my liberal friends justifying the Iraq war before I ever even went. And now in hindsight, I knew I was right. I was like, Saddam Hussein is the modern day Hitler. He's killing his own people. He's gassing them. He was torturing his Olympic team when they came back without medals. I'm like, this is disgusting. Someone's got to stop him.
Right.
And then now, knowing everything that I do now and all lies and everything, like, and having that, I call it an awakening, I get it. I'm like, I understand now how some people, like, it's unbelievable to think that almost everything you were taught could be false. I'm not saying 100% is false. I'm not saying everything they teach is false. But, like, so many things on how the world actually works is just completely different than what most average Joe
people
walking down
have
the street.
ulterior motives and everything.
Yeah.
Everybody has a motive.
Yeah.
Hey, but we're all about democracy here.
Yeah.
We go in and overturn other governments, have people assassinate and kill, but we're all about democracy.
Yeah. It's actually kind of wild. So, like, I look back at it like being an invader to Iraq. I look at it now, I'm like, oh, whoa. I was like a Roman soldier. So, like, we were the most powerful, army ever to exist. Well, the Romans were that at one point. And how did they conquer Europe and everything? They went and then they just took over. They conquered. And I was like, man, that was me too. And so I see like, oh, I was a puppet. And it's upsetting to figure it out at first, but then it's very liberating afterwards. It's like, well, that can't happen to me again.
Right.
And now I can tell other people like the warning signs to look for. I'm like, you're being lied to.
Right.
If you can't ask a question about something without being attacked for it, that's a red flag.
Right. Just for asking questions.
Right. Hey, but the elections are fine.
Totally fine. 100%.
Yeah. God bless France. Everything's fine there too.
Yeah, that place is going to shit. Hey, France, have you seen what do you call them, prime ministers or presidents out there?
I think they have both. In France, they have a president and they have a prime. I could be
Really?
wrong.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
One of them, I forget his name, but his wife looks like a man.
Dude, Candace.
Candace brought that up. Yeah.
All right, so I looked into that.
Yeah. You looked into that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she's right. I first heard it, and I'm like, let me even say, like, so when it comes to like people talking about Michelle Obama and people are calling her Big Mike, this goes back years.
Right.
And when I first heard it, I was like, what are people talking about? So I Googled, and the first thing I thought was like, is there a childhood photo of her? And there is. Well, there's one. There's at least one. Some people say it's fake, but I'm like, I think it's real. And so I'm like, I don't think she is a man. I could be wrong. Watch, I'm gonna get so much hate for just saying this. Like, he's lying.
He's just a dude.
But like,
Big Mike.
I'm thinking she's a woman. But never mind her. If you look at, was it Macron's wife? Is that
Macron. Yeah, Macron. Yeah. Pull up, Chris.
This is wild. Like
Macron.
there's so many details about this. Like when I first saw her, I was like, there's something off-putting about the way she looks. I'm not trying to say attractive level. I'm not
She's
trying to
older.
be mean. Right. But like there's some weird shit there. Like she was allegedly fit. Like if she's a woman, she was 30 dating a 15-year-old.
Right.
And
it's a huge age difference.
And one thing that Candace was pointing out is that the cover-up. So I was a fraud investigator for a retail company, and one thing I learned that they teach you is that if one of the biggest indicators that something has happened always involves the cover-up. If people are not being honest or upfront, that is a huge red flag because honest people will share things with you. They'll be like, I didn't do anything. What are you talking about? Let me tell you. Let me explain. They sent their equivalent of the Secret Service to the reporters' houses for even investigating this. Like this stuff goes deep, and I'm like, they can't provide one photo of her from years earlier. People are trying to say it's actually the brother and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, where's the brother? And the evidence is in the cover-up. So I'm not here to tell you, like, I don't know what the real answer is. But at first I heard it, and I'm like, well, this sounds silly. And then I looked into some of the details. I'm like, this is weird. But whatever. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm the exact same way. Oh, man, it's just a conspiracy. People are loony bins. I heard people for years saying, hey, we didn't go to the moon. Right. Dude, come on. Why would we fake that?
Right.
So I started looking at the video of the moon land. I said, this shit looks fake.
There's some fuckery there. Like, I don't even know what to think. Like, I've been back and forth on the moon thing, and I kind of, like, go along with, because I want to believe we went.
Yeah.
Right?
It looked like a low-budget movie, though.
It looks like trash.
And they're talking like they're on the cell phone, talking to Houston.
Just
and
film
they're filming when they're taking off from the moon. Yeah.
It's because they had signal. You don't know. I mean, honestly, like, I want to believe that we went, and I like what Alex Jones says about it. He says the real conspiracy is that it wasn't the first time that we had went, and that the reality is that it's a mausoleum that a bunch of people died to make it a successful event, and that what Neil Armstrong discovered when he went there is that, there's a bunch of other dead astronauts that had tried to go, and the reason why there was a big cover-up is because we don't want to look weak in front of the Russians. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if we went. Like, I want to believe we went.
Yeah.
I've looked at satellite imagery of all those tracks when they drove around the rovers, and you can see it from space. But I'm like, and then the devil advocate, people say, well, how do you know those are real photos?
Right.
Like, you don't know anything anymore. So I don't know. I'm letting other people argue that. I don't know what to think.
I don't think we went, because if we went, we would have went back.
See, that's the thing. And I want to talk to Elon. I'm like, why do you keep everyone talking about Mars? What about the moon? I want to see some 4K footage of the moon.
I've seen a couple of his rockets go up and come straight back down to land, and boom! Boom!
Yeah. Why won't he go up?
Right.
He needs to go do a little. If I had a rocket company like him,
Yeah.
Wouldn't you go for at least one spin? Wouldn't you want to be weightless for a minute and play around like, look, it's floating. This is fun. Why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
I mean, I guess it's risky. You might die.
It's hella risky. Well, we went in because we never been to them. He's trying to figure all this shit out right now. Yeah, we supposedly went in the 60s, late 60s. It's 2024.
Do you want to know another conspiracy about the moon? Is that some people say that we actually did go, but it's what we found there, the reason why they're trying to cover it up. And this is so wild, but bear with me for half a second.
Okay.
The conspiracy is that the moon is a hollowed out planetoid that was brought here by
Autobots.
Yeah, by advanced beings eons ago. And because the moon, there's so many anomalies about it. For example, it's indicative that it could be hollow and that its mass doesn't compute for its size. And the moon, like, you know how we have like a near perfect solar eclipse? It's like 99.9 something percent, almost perfect. If it wasn't exactly its size and exactly its distance, that wouldn't even be possible. But because it is, the moon is responsible for not just our seasons, but the ocean tides. And the ocean tides.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the moon.
If it wasn't for the moon, we'd have like a vastly different, longer summer and winter, and the moon or the tides would be far more extreme. And like, I forgot what the percentage, but it's a massive percentage of all ocean life is directly related to the tides. And if it wasn't, so if you want to call it a conspiracy, is that the moon was essentially an ark of some kind that was brought here to establish the human race. And this is so deep, but like, hear me out for one more thing, is that if you look at the craters of the moon, look how shallow they are. They're exceptionally wide, but extremely shallow. And the conspiracy is that the reason why the moon is so shiny is because it's metallic dust that was hollowed out and from the inner core. And so that the conspiracy is that the inside, that it is hollow and there's something inside of it, that it was a space station. I'm not saying I believe in all this. I'm just sharing what people, the internet has said, you know. I don't know what to believe. Like, it's a fun thing to think about. It is really, really odd. There's anomalies about it they can't figure out. The moon is like no other satellite in the whole solar system. It's so unique.
So life on this planet would be far different if there was no moon.
We'd have far less life. The ocean life, which affects all kinds of things, insects and all kinds of other things to be affected. It's wild. Like, it really is. Like, if it wasn't for the light of the moon at night, there's so many species of insects that wouldn't even exist. And insects are responsible for all kinds of life. You know, like these small little guys are responsible for so many animals that will eat them, and birds and other things that it's like, you know, life gives life gives life. And there's other things about it too, like such as that it's locked and we can only see the one side of it. You know, they call it the far side or the dark side of the moon. It's not that it's dark, but like it's tidal locked and it doesn't rotate where other moons on other planets actually do. It's weird.
Yeah.
So
you think it's a fake? Well, people think it's a fake planet.
I put it this way.
It's been installed out by like some other alien species, and they seeded Earth, and they did all this shit. Well,
yeah,
it would explain a lot. That's what that was true. Yeah. That's what they're alluding to.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I'm not convinced of it. Let me just be totally honest. I'm not convinced, but I actually think it's possible. I think that, you know, when you look at different religious texts talking about how beings came here and created us in their image, it's possible that something like that was true. And if it was true, let's just pretend the astronauts went there legitimately and they saw evidence of an ancient advanced technology on the moon. Let's just pretend. Would they share that with us?
Hell no.
Right? It would debunk every religion. It would make, you know, a vast majority of the world question everything they ever believed. It might make people not even feel like going to work anymore or something because they're like, well,
might break into chaos.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what to believe, but it's possible. Like, I do believe in a creator. I believe that I believe in the divine, and it's possible that something that's not a coincidence, that something had taken place. But I'm not trying to convince anyone listening. This is fun talk. We're on a podcast.
Right.
It's fun talk. Like, I don't know what to think. I don't know. I go back and forth on what the moon is.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to take a quick break. I got to piss.
Right on.
Hey, y'all, we interrupt this damn good podcast for an important message. It's a damn good message. 9 out of 10 Americans aren't getting proper nutrition. So even though most of us are fat, the food we're eating is missing the 6 vitamins and nutrients. We'll get to the same shit y'all are, eating whatever we want, caught up to us too. But now we got the solution. Optimal Human. It's the magic elixir. It's got over 90 ingredients of key vitamins and minerals that are impossible to get through your average diet as an American. It tastes good too. Damn good. I bet y'all got some kind of gut issues where you get random stomach pains. Got your butt leaking?
You got joint issues with your back tweaking out. Maybe you got some cardiovascular issues where your blood ain't pumping where it's supposed to pump. You know?
Oh, I get it. Can't get it up.
I'm telling y'all, it's because of the lack of essential nutrients in your diet. That's why we're trying to help. Where else are you going to get organic reishi mushroom for your brain?
Turmeric for your joints, probiotics for your gut, and beetroot for your blood flow in that one drink.
Yeah,
And it still tastes good.
It tastes damn good. And it's got over 90 ingredients for whatever else that might be holding you back. But the best part about it is Optimal Human is a 100% American-made, patriot-owned company that sponsors your two favorite black guys. Probably your only two favorite black guys. Go to OptimalHuman.com/Hodgetwins and get 50% off your first month. And more importantly, get those key essential nutrients all up in your body.
Yeah, make your body great again.
Yeah. Well, speaking of conspiracies, you came across some temple, huh?
Yeah. So let me give you guys a wild one. Like, there's nothing more fun than a lost ancient conspiracy theory. So
Okay.
there's this site in Turkey called Golbaki Tepi. It is the
Okay.
oldest, largest, and most mysterious ancient site ever found. It was only discovered a few decades ago. It's 50 times larger than Stonehenge, and it's almost 7,000 years older.
They only discovered this a couple of decades ago.
Yeah, excavations only started in 1995, and it completely it's rewriting history because the oldest civilization was supposed to be the Sumerians out of ancient Iraq 6,000 years ago. And this is, over 5,000 years older than that, and it's a complete anomaly. It's made up of over 200 pillars that are T-shaped in nature, and what's wild is that 95% of it is still buried. And so it's an interest.
95%.
Most of it is still under the ground. And what's wild about this is one of my first videos was on this topic, and I revisited it recently and found out that it was still at only 95% excavated. So like back in 2017, they were talking about 5% excavated. Can't wait to see what is going to be unearthed as they continue excavations. So I recently started looking into it to see if there's any developments. And come to find out that number was still the same, more or less the same. And I'm like, well, what's the holdup? So I started doing some digging.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, and I'm like,
It seems like stop digging.
Yeah.
Stop digging. Cover it up.
I didn't study archaeology. I studied business, and I just know, follow the money. Like, who's paying for this? On everything on Earth now is whenever someone has a question why on something, follow the dollar, follow the money. So this is where things get really wild. Is that who now oversees it is a company called the Doges Group, which is a Turkish conglomerate which is made up of 250 companies, billion-dollar industry, and the CEO is this Farid Sahank, which is a billionaire on the Forbes list. And it turns out that he is a longtime member of the World Economic Forum.
Oh, that's a red flag.
It is. Hey, look, the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab loves us. You have no evidence to suggest he doesn't. Agenda 2030 is a good thing. Just come on, submit. Just kiss the ring. It'll be just fine.
So they're funding it all, huh?
Yeah. So back in 2016, I can't believe I was the one to figure this out. This dates back several years, and no one had talked about it. And I just came across it through some sequence of events, some coincidences that caused me to go down the rabbit hole. And it turns out in 2016, they announced this 20-year partnership, literally in Davos at the annual World Economic Forum for this, that was going to give the Doges Group, quote, sole partnership over excavation management and tourism management of the site. And I'm like, I don't understand why. Just to clarify, because some people that tried to debunk me will say, well, the World Economic Forum doesn't run this site. It's the Doges Group. Who cares that the CEO is part of the World Economic Forum? I'm like, well, guys, the World Economic Forum is literally nothing in itself. That organization has no power. What they are, though, is a group of hundreds, maybe even thousands of people that are high-powered elite they're involved in the education system, corporations, and governments all throughout the world. I mean, Klaus Schwab, I'm quoting him directly. He said that they've infiltrated government cabinets and corporations, and they have their global shapers in 450 cities around the world. So, people need to understand that, these people, if you're looking at all the crazy crap going on in the world, a lot of these people are part of the World Economic Forum. You see all these traffic cameras being cut down in London. You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen this stuff?
No.
Okay, so they're trying to. Have you heard of the 15-minute city thing?
No.
Oh, this is from
15-minute city? I think I heard it in passing. Or something.
Everything's going to be within 15 minutes.
Yes, they want to get rid of fossil. These are the people that are trying to ban gas ovens and stoves.
Right.
These-
Okay.
All in the name of climate change.
Right.
And so, anyway, so I did some digging, and this people can see that there's a conspiracy there or not. But here's what I will say: is that the proof is in the pudding, and that they have quote said that they're going to push full scale excavation for quote future generations. That as of right now, that 95% is going to be more or less the same. Let me just say they have not 100% stopped excavations. There are still archaeologists out there today. But any meaningful attempt to get the remaining 120-something pillars that are still under the ground is at an indefinite standstill. So I'm like, wait a second. This is the world's oldest, largest, and most mysterious ancient site on Earth. It dates back to 11,600 years, which is the same date of when that cataclysm happened. There's evidence that this site was purposely buried, which some people think makes it like a time capsule. Because it's wild. It's all these circles of pillars, and they all have pictures on them of animals and stuff. And some people have tied it into Noah's Ark because that allegedly foundered on Mount Ararat, which is also in Turkey. This is wild stuff. So never mind. I'm not going down that path. But the point is that it has real significance, and there's answers to be found. It's the oldest site on Earth from ancient human civilization. So why on earth would there not be an excavation happening in our lifetime? Like, how could any archaeologist or enthusiast of ancient history be content on living the rest of their life not knowing what's waiting to be unearthed in the world's oldest ancient site? And they built roads on top of it. They planted 4 different tree orchards. Hundreds and hundreds of trees have been planted over ancient ruins. I verified this with an archaeologist that worked at the site, and they say, oh, it's just to protect the site, that the roots will keep the remnants of the ancient stones under there nice and safe. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, the stones were nice and safe because they're buried. What do you mean? You're planting trees, which is further proof that they have no plan for the foreseeable future to excavate the site. So this makes my conspiracy wheels just go through the roof. And again, it speaks for itself. There is no plan to fully excavate the site. So this brings me into what I've been working on now, which is my next video, which will be up later this week. I think this podcast will come out after the video. But there's another site that might be, it's in Indonesia, and it's called Gunung Padang. And it is potentially 27,000 years old, and they're calling it the world's oldest pyramid.
27,000 years old.
Potentially, yes. This is all debated, but long story short, they did ground.
You know how many centuries that is?
Guys, this would rewrite human history
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that their ground penetrating radar has identified this subterranean cavity with a tunnel and chamber. There's intense debate. Some people say it's natural. It could be like a lava tube because the hill it's on was volcanic in nature. But a geologist that worked at the site said that there's strong evidence to indicate that it was man-made. And so it's like, okay, like, let's go dig this up. Let's excavate. Let's see what's there. Is it natural? Is it man-made? Because if it's man-made, the implications are massive. Rewrite human history.
Right.
So I did some digging on this, and I'm thinking there's no way the World Economic Forum are associated with this site. I didn't even look. When I made my Golbaki Tepi video, I didn't even look. Because I talked about Gunung Padang in my video after that. And so just the other day, I started doing some digging. I'm like, well, let me just double check. And I couldn't believe what I found. The minister of the Ministry of, and I might butcher this, but it's the Education, Research, Technology, and something whatever of Indonesia. The guy, the political guy that oversees all decision-making at Golbaki Tepi is a member of the World Economic Forum and is a global shaper. And his right-hand man has said that as of right now, excavations at this site is now a last priority, despite the fact that years earlier they said they were willing to allocate, quote, unlimited funding to dig it up. And something has since changed to where, as of right now, it's a total standstill.
They found something.
That's
what
what
they know was there. Because, like you said, you can use some type of machinery to get some type of imagery of what's underground.
Radar and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
And they have it. Now, again, this is debated. Some
Well,
people
think about it. You can, like, you seen the pictures they put from
MRI?
inside a woman's womb when they're
Yeah,
pregnant?
MRIs
right.
and stuff.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
do that shit underground right now.
Yeah, they're doing that. It's called LiDAR. They can do it from space. They can use a laser from space on a satellite to scan the Sahara Desert and the Amazon rainforest, and they're finding ancient ruins under all that.
Right.
Who knows what other technology they have we don't know about. Hey, look, they're watching us through the roof right now, just so you know.
I
so
think
this
they
one,
burned down Hawaii.
dude, there's
Damn
some weird
lasers.
stuff about that. There's some weird stuff about Hawaii.
That is really weird.
I heard
but,
people talking about lasers. I'm like, man, you people are crazy. But it's so much that's out there we don't know because
you're
they don't want us to know.
Yeah, imagine what's top secret. Like they don't tell us. And so it's like, these are just things that we know about. So when it comes to this Gadang Padang site, I'm excited about this video, but it's kind of explosive because it's like, why is the World Economic Forum even remotely associated with archaeology and excavations of ancient sites? Now, some people won't believe this. Some people are like, no, just because they're part of the World Economic Forum doesn't mean it's related. I'm like, okay, you can think that. All I know is that 2 sites that are the oldest on planet Earth are being run by people that are longtime members of the World Yes. And members of the World Economic Forum, and as of right now, excavations that are a standstill. So, like, I'm a curious guy. Like, I think that ancient stuff is fun. And I can't wrap my head around that with all this technology we have, we can dig up anything we want.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense why they wouldn't excavate it.
Right.
This is a job for archaeologists. Like, this is a win-win. Even if there's nothing there, let's just say it's natural. Okay, well, we learned something new, and some people got a job in the meantime.
Right.
It's not about money.
Right.
And so, people say, well, why? And I'm like, whether it's the climate change thing, because the World Economic Forum is leading the charge on the Agenda 2030, which is to go after climate change.
Right.
Maybe it's religious stuff, whatever it is.
They definitely have ulterior motives.
Yes, and you know how you know is because they do everything in the shadows. Anything that's on the up and up would be part of public discourse and debate. But since they operate in the shadows, that is all I need to know. If they were sincere, like trying to save the planet, like with man-made change,
that would be the first place I would dig up.
Right. And they would have a public conversation about it too. They'd be like, well, hey guys, we need to make some changes. What's the best way to do this? But instead, they're just like going crazy. They're trying to put the hammer down in the next few years with, they want to limit fossil fuels. Like, they want to get rid of gas-powered stoves and ovens. They want to get rid of all fossil fuel vehicles. And there's not enough power to charge, all these electric vehicles.
Just maybe, they've found a technology that's going to enable them to do that.
Maybe. So there's people saying that too, that they may have created some sort of next level generation technology.
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, what are these nerds doing underneath,
I just got a TV, and your remote that comes with your TV, it's always got batteries in the damn thing, right?
Yeah.
I just bought a TV, flat screen, right? The damn remote's solar powered.
What?
Yeah,
so you have to put it by like your window?
You just got to leave it by the window.
Mine does that too.
Throw it out. Throw it out right now. That thing is going to torture your brain. That's 5G all over it. You will have cancer in 6 months.
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? This shit is solar powered.
Yeah, the remote, right?
Yeah.
Mine is too, yeah. It's the OLED TV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I tell people, I'm like, if there's anything, like if I had like a thesis, it would be that the true history of ancient human civilization was older and more advanced than what we were taught in school.
Right. They had to have been. I mean, anybody with IQ higher than 2 could see that from the pyramids.
Yeah. It's true. But it's hard for some people to wrap their head around because that's not what they're taught in school. Like when you're taught something, and by the way, they teach it like when you're in like the 6th grade. So you're like a kid. You're like 11 years old or 12 or whatever. And like, and so when you grow up and you hear people talking about lost technology or something, they immediately think like space lasers and other things. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that they were more advanced than us, but there's some things that they did that is so inexplicable that it clearly shows that there's a missing chapter of human history.
Right.
Like something.
It seems like history started all over because of some cataclysmic event, and now we're approaching this same time that the prior civilizations was able to achieve, and now we're just not discovering it.
That's what I think. There's rumors, and this is all just conspiracy, but like some people think that through some archaeological site that they did find some sort of technology, because that's what Bob Lazar was saying, and I don't know if I totally believe him or not. There's some things about him that are clearly they're trying to cover up, but like that's what he had said, is that allegedly one of those crash crafts, if that does exist, he said was rumored to have came from an archaeological site. That's what he said.
Right. Yeah, I seen this one guy. He's talking about religion. He said religion was constructed to keep people from killing each other.
Yeah.
To give people like a moral compass. If you don't do right, God's going to strike you down and you're going to burn in hell for eternity. They said that was all made up just to keep people in line. And I don't know. I don't believe him, but I don't know what the fuck I'm saying really. But it's like maybe they found something at these these sites, these digging sites, whatever the fuck you call them. And it's just like, maybe, this is my conspiracy mind going, maybe we were an alien civilization, landed here, and seeded Earth, put that damn moon up there so we could have the damn tides and shit. And we're just there's no God.
Yeah. Well, what's that religion? Church of Scientology?
Oh, yeah. We should get in that. We should get Tom Cruise having a fun time with that. You just got to be at the top. Dude, when you're in a cult, you just got to be one of the leaders, and it's great.
Me and Keith was fresh out of the military. We had a 1-bedroom apartment. I remember Keith was walking up to this restaurant.
We were poor. We didn't have a car or anything.
We were just walking to go get us some hamburgers at the D&N restaurant, right? Yeah. And this white woman, very attractive, pulls up in his van.
Yeah.
She said, y'all want to go, what'd she say?
Y'all want to go for a ride?
I said, yeah.
Was she alone? Was it an empty van?
It was her. And I said, heck yeah, I want to go on a ride.
Yeah.
So we get there, and they take us to this place, and it's a bunch of people in there. They've been picking up people all day, and they started showing us Church of Scientology and that we're aliens and that they was going to come save us, and we was going to go to this other planet.
All you got to do is drink that Kool-Aid, and once that comet flings back around, it will save you. And yeah, you know what's crazy is that, like, church, like the cult aside and the Church of Scientology aside, it would make a lot of sense that we were a product of some sort of alien intervention. Like it's because think about it, and it doesn't negate the proof of God or anything. Because who created them? And it's like because like in the Bible, it talks in other religions too. It talks about that beings came and created us and in their image, and it's like it's not. People will hear, oh, the moon was brought here and we were created by aliens, but like it's actually possible. Like, I'm not convinced of it, but like how is that impossible? Like we're cloning animals,
right?
Exactly,
right? Like
exactly.
And if we get the power to like travel to other stars through technology, like we're not going to do that too. Of course, we're going to go there and fuck around.
That magazine is a science magazine where they're bringing back the dodo bird. They're going to bring back the dodo bird.
For what? That was the dumbest thing on?
But they're going to bring back all these species that went extinct. They can do that.
Yeah.
They're working on creating a woolly mammoth.
Yeah, they're going to bring that fucker back.
Dude, do you think it's a possibility like AI is getting more prevalent in our society? You think they had AI back in those days and that was the end of their civilization?
So this is nothing more than conjecture. This is just fun talk. Like I have no idea, and I don't believe anything. But honestly, what if the devil is technology?
Right.
Because like when it talks about like, and I'm not like a Bible thumper, by the way. I'm a believer, but like I'm very spiritual. Like I don't align with any religion. I think that we're all part of a creation, and it goes beyond what we can comprehend. And so it's not that I'm anti-religion. It's just that I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. I'm a believer.
Right.
But if you look at the Bible, and it talks about Adam and Eve, and inside the Garden of Eden, and they were instructed, don't take from this tree of knowledge. And I might be paraphrasing.
Right.
But if you do it, God said, if you do it, it will kill you, or something to that effect. And I'm like, what if that's what it meant? Because like I was recently looking into this, and they were saying that because as soon as they ate from the tree of knowledge, they immediately felt naked because they were naked. And they didn't care that they were naked. But once they ate from the tree of knowledge, they immediately put clothes on. And that's how God figured out, like, why are you wearing that? What happened? Did you eat from this tree? They said, yes. And so once you start down the path of technology, it almost seems like it is totally going to destroy us. And and if nothing
intellect is going to destroy us.
Yeah, we'll just we'll destroy ourselves. And you know what else? If anything, it's just making us unhappy. Like, I mean, how much happier are people with social media and all this other crap?
Yeah, it's actually dividing us. It's supposed to bring us together, but everybody hates each other. Everybody's got their own little
agenda.
Ideology
and it's making us dumber. Like you think with we have these smartphones, you can look up anything, and it almost seems like people are as dumb as ever, to where common sense doesn't even exist anymore. People are literally.
It's like the more technological advance we get, the stupid we get. Like they don't know what a woman is nowadays.
Right. And there's kids that believe that because they were told, just like a kid, you could tell them that Santa Claus exists, and they believe that.
Right. And I believed that shit until I was like 15.
Right.
Hey, this is bullshit.
That must have been a rough one to learn. That must have been soul crushing.
We never
right
got
there.
shit anyway. We're bullshit. All the white kids, look what I got. I got a pair of Reeboks.
Yeah, you need to behave better, and then Santa will take care of you next year. Yeah. But honestly, like
a lot of the hieroglyphics that's on the pyramids, a lot of it look like spaceships, look like astronauts.
These people,
and these are people who live like thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. How the hell did they have stuff like that?
They got big heads too. Some of these Egyptians, they had like these cone heads that were like, they call it cranial deformation, whatever, where they wrap their heads up as babies, and the baby's skull is real soft.
Yeah. Right.
But like some people think that they were trying to recreate
to look like the people who seeded the earth.
Right. Big ass heads.
They still doing that in some parts of Africa.
Yeah. It's really messed up. Don't look at pictures.
I saw a Negro
Hey, I wanna
with his
see that.
head.
It's scary.
I saw a black. I need to stop saying Negro. I think it's a negative
That's
connotation.
kind of out of turn. That's out
Out
of
of touch, right? But a black woman's head is like long.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then this one dude had a plate in his lip, and his lip was down to here.
Oh
Hey,
God,
Chris.
I've seen that.
Can you pull that shit up?
Cranial deformation, I think.
Do you think that was? Do you think that has anything to do with making you smarter or making your brain have a bigger capacity to think and create?
I think that's so. This is again just conjecture, but I think that's what they're trying to achieve. Let's just say hypothetically that aliens did create us and they had big ass heads because they were so smart.
Oh,
Yeah, these are Paracas skulls in South America. There's thousands of them, and yeah, there's a modern example, and there's other ones. You can find pictures.
now
Type
they
in
do
baby.
this to themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Type in baby. Just add the word to your search. Just type in baby, and you'll never unsee what you're about to see. It's really messed up. No, not that. Not that.
Stay with the African stuff.
Type in.
White people
I mean,
are
that
doing
is-
this too. I didn't know white people were doing this. We need to make white people great again.
But yeah, people do this. They put. Yeah, there we go. There's some of these. Yeah,
man.
that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, Chris,
Right
go back. Look at the kid's head right there. Look like I don't know what the hell that is.
That one. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Look at this baby's eyes. It looks like its eyes are about to explode out of its skull. It's really it's messed up.
So they put something around his head when they're
Yeah,
born.
planks with like ropes and sheets wrapped around it.
It's
and it'll
almost like modern dentistry, how they can move your teeth
Yeah.
make them straight. You can do that with your head.
Yep.
Yeah, there was some skulls, Chris. It looked like damn.
What's that?
Right, there, yeah, that skull right
Yep.
there.
Those are called Paracas skulls, and they're found all throughout South America. They're ancient, thousands of years old, and that's what they were doing. And so look at that one right there. Click on.
Yeah, click that one too.
Look at that. These are real. These are human, by the way.
And they
And
trying
look at
to-
that kid. Look at that black kid right there with that rap
That's
shit right there.
That's what I was thinking of. That's the one.
See that rap shit?
Right to the right of the
Right
picture
there.
you clicked on.
That one?
No, down.
The picture you already clicked. No, not that one. Oh, that's I
It's,
can't.
it's in black and white. That's a deformity or something.
Oh.
No, it's scrolled. Not that one.
Damn.
Oh, that's a pretty bad one.
Got a
So
penis
the
head.
prior go to the top. Right. No, go up a little bit. Go to the left. I'm
It's
sorry.
right there,
Right there.
Hold on. Go
We
down,
need a
Chris.
laser pointer.
It's
No, go
right by
down.
those skulls right there.
Go to the skulls that you were on before that I was talking about.
To the right.
Right.
Yeah,
Right there. Down. All right. So where's your mouse? I can't see it. All right. Go down to the left. Right here.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
that one.
That's the one I was thinking of that you can never unsee. Look at that poor kid.
Holy shit.
Right? People do this.
Can you make that bigger, Chris? Is he breastfeeding?
I don't know. That kid doesn't look too happy, and something tell me this ain't helping
Oh,
that kid
man.
be smarter. People do this. Yeah, so it's like, why would they do that? Though, what would even give them the inclination to
Yeah,
even?
why would you do that?
How do you even get the idea to do that?
You know, it's
Yeah.
funny when my daughter
They're
was
trying
born.
to replicate something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
When
That-
my daughter was born, her head was like that. They said when the kids come out,
Yeah, because of the vagina so tight.
yeah, it's tight.
Yeah.
It comes
Was.
out like a banana.
Was.
Yeah, it was. And her head was really long.
Yeah,
But
my
then,
kid was like that too. I
but
said,
then
"Oh
the
my
nurse-
God, it's an alien baby."
Yeah, but then the nurse said, "No, it's gonna go around. Like it's gonna fix itself."
Yeah, this is why they have you rotate the child. Like you're not supposed to let them like lay on the back the whole time, right? Because
On the
like
back of
they'll
his
get a
head,
flat
yeah.
head. You've seen people like
Yeah.
I saw this in basic training. So we were all in the military. You've seen people. The basic training is the most wild place on earth because you get people from all over, right? You've seen people like this,
You
right?
meet people from all over the world, man. It's like, oh my God.
The most diverse place. I'll never forget. My drill
Yeah.
sergeant was saying that. Let me give him a shout out. Drill sergeant Omar Foreman. He ended up becoming an officer. This guy was the most amazing person I've ever met. And he was saying, he's like, the one thing you need to understand, because it's like a basic training. People don't get along. People piss you off.
Different
Right.
cultures, everything.
Yeah, and he
there.
said every single one of you need to understand right now is from a different part of the world. Even if you grew up in the same street, your household was different from someone else's household. It's a
Right.
different world.
Right.
And because of that, you're not going to get along, and there's people you won't like, there's people you will like. And with it, I noticed that you see people like, oh, this poor child, their mom like left them in that crib on their head. And you see it, like, I'll never, can't unsee it. It's real bad, but
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But it makes you wonder if they were trying to recreate, because like remember that show, The Coneheads, or whatever they're called.
Yeah, the cone heads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these
Dan
aliens-
Aykroyd.
Right.
Yeah.
And they are those big ass heads. And so if you look at the Egyptians, they wore those same types of hats that look just like it almost.
Right around when they was building the pyramids.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, what were they trying to recreate? Now, this is just fun conjecture. I know, like, because like people come after me now for everything I say. I'm like, I'm not some scientist. I'm not trying to like make you believe any of this, but it almost seems they were trying to. Because again, what even gives them the idea to do it in the first place? I don't understand.
They had to see it somewhere.
So in other words, aliens came, they messed with us, and they bounced. We probably tried to kill them too.
I think something happened to them. I think they got like the civilization. This is conjecture.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna piss off the conservatives because I'm supposed to be religious. But no, I just get to thinking sometimes. Maybe not believe everything I hear. Maybe whoever seeded this planet, maybe they ran into some kind of cataclysm on that planet, their solar system, and now they're gone, and we're just here.
And they started giving us the same information that they were.
I mean, they were doing it while they was here, but they were gone, and now we're just on our own.
I think a lot of this
We lost all that information.
And
I think a lot of it's being played out on our movie screens. It was like, where is these people getting these ideas?
It is kind of weird. I feel like they dump stuff in there.
Yeah.
And like, so in the Planet of the Apes,
Right.
I found this clip recently from the original one, Charleston Heston, the first
Oh, the
one.
best
I love
one.
that movie. That's
Yeah.
the best one with Charlton Heston when he. I saw that. I was looking at that the other night.
Get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape.
Yeah. They were like, it's almost like they threw some truth bombs in there to be like, because that's what it's about, is that the apes, like, they didn't want to believe that there was an advanced civilization that
you
existed.
go.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And he read this quote about man.
Yes.
Remember,
yes.
right before Charleston Heston took off on a horse
Yep.
to go seek a new life, and then he found what really happened
Yeah,
to man.
because they had this cave, and he's like, if you go in there, it's going to have all these artifacts.
Technology, and we need to stay away from it
Yeah.
and just stay primitive.
But it was blasphemy. Anyone that talked about it would be punished.
Right. It was hearsay.
Yeah. Which is like today.
What they're doing today.
Go on Twitter and say that you don't think the Egyptians built the pyramids and see what happens to you. See
Right.
what happens to you. Fuck you, you're stupid, you're wrong, anti-science, this is dangerous.
You're
Like,
white supremacists.
yeah, Nazi. That's
The
what they do.
same thing. What's his name? That monkey's name? Acrylius or something? They
What
do
was
the-
his name?
I forget.
He was the white monkey on there. They had the ugly dark monkey, had the bronze monkey. He was like the white monkey.
Yeah. And he was like a ginger too. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
He was a ginger monkey.
Fucking-
Yeah.
Don't trust Fred heads. I was born, I'm like a strawberry blonde, so I have the ginger gene.
Right.
Gotta be careful. We're crazy.
That is so crazy. That movie was, I think it was written in 1968.
Yeah.
And look how it's playing out. It's like with you. You're
Yeah.
doing the exact same thing that Charlton Heston was doing, and there was other two monkey scientists, and they was being called liars, hearsay, and all that.
Right. Like anyone listening, I encourage them to go down the path of looking into the mysteries of ancient civilizations. It doesn't have to involve aliens. It because think of it like this. Because some people say like, oh, well then do you think I get this all the time. Like, oh, well, you think it was aliens that built the pyramids? Like, I didn't say that, and I don't actually think it because I'm like, imagine if we get a time machine and we went back just a couple hundred years, like 17. Let's say to 1776, just like you got in the hat,
Right.
and you put them in a time machine and then fly them over New York City.
Yeah.
They will think they're on another planet. And then they see some, Boeing jet fly over them, they'll think they don't even know what that is.
Right.
And so what I'm saying is that, if humans we're so full of creativity and ingenuity that like we're capable of all kinds of things. Like imagine even Wi-Fi. Like Nikola Tesla was basically describing that back in like 1926, and people thought he was fucking crazy.
Right.
But he was right. He was describing smartphones. He didn't say smartphone, but he said you'll one day be able to have a device that could fit in your pocket that will get you to be able to communicate to the other side of the world instantaneously. Something to that effect, he said.
Right. Like
And
a portal.
Right. And so it's like, I mean, what's Wi-Fi? Like that in itself is almost magic. I'm not saying it's magic, but I'm saying that like to some primitive person, if you were to expose someone from a couple hundred years ago to this world today, they would think they were on a different, they wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Right.
What
Just
to
go
think.
back to 1924 to today.
Yeah.
Look how fast we advanced.
Yeah. I don't even think we had AC. When did AC get invented? Something like
Right.
30s or something like that.
We did that in what? That's 100 years, 1924 to today's date. Imagine what they was doing thousands of years ago.
So listen to this. This is exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, if we can create from no steam engine to all of this in like just barely over 100 years, people will say like, well, where's the evidence of lost technology? And I'm like, you have to understand that like everything, all metal goes away. Even stainless steel, if you throw it outside,
Turns to dust.
it will. Stainless steel will rust. As soon as it gets one little chip, anything in it, And it will, if you look at some World War II vehicles, I'm stealing this from Joe Rogan. I remember him saying this years ago on his podcast, saying that look at some old vehicle and it's rusted straight through. All you got is the springs, the seats are gone, tires are gone, and it's rusting through. And in a couple hundred years, it's like it never existed in the first place. So if there was a bad enough cataclysm and just hundreds of years or even a couple thousand years goes by, it'd all be gone too. What would be left?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, do you think they could replicate those pyramids like today with today's technology? Could they actually build one of those?
So this is a fun question. So yes, but like, what union are you going to get to do that? Like, who's gonna? You know what I mean? Like, it physically, yeah, we could move blocks and stack them, definitely. But like,
I think we can, but it's not going to be nothing like that.
And this is one of the things that I think is indicative of a lost advancement of some kind that they had is that. The Great Pyramid, like I said, was equivalent to the height of a 47-story building, and it's block after block, 206 layers. It is so. I've been there. Have you guys been to Egypt?
I haven't been there.
Oh, you guys got to go. It's safe. It's the most hospitable place I've ever been. The people are so friendly.
It's not what Fox News says.
Hey, Egypt's got that shit on lock. They don't want any of that crap falling over to their border. Are you seeing this? They don't want any of that nonsense going on. Because their entire way of life is tourism. And they have guards out there everywhere. Like I always felt safe. And you're not walking around downtown Cairo by yourself at night. Like any resort you're at or anything, they have guards. Like it's safe. And the local people that I met anywhere I went, the most nicest people you can ever imagine. Not even for a second, because people ask, like, is it safe? Like it is. But if you go there and you stand at the base of the pyramid and you look up, like people don't realize, like from one side to the other, like each base, there's 4 bases, of course, is 755 feet long at each base. And which means that if you're at the base of it looking up, the center of it is more than 100 meters, over 330 feet in from where you're standing, further away from you.
Oh, right.
Because basically what I'm trying to say is that they could have made it half the size and it still would have been impressive. This is so big, it's dumb. I call it stupid big, which is that they could have been impressive, because that's what they'll say is like, well, they built it so big because it was just trying to show their sophistication and and be impressive. I'm like, okay, well, they could have made it 100 feet shorter and still blew everyone's mind. They went to such an extent that it raises questions like, why?
Why did they build those?
Well, and they say to be tombs for the pharaohs, but here's another fun fact that most people don't know about is that they never found one single mummy in any Egyptian pyramid ever. None. Zero.
Yeah. If you're going to build something that big, it's got to be for a purpose. Yeah,
I thought that's what it was for pharaohs and stuff.
But here's what's wild is that if you go to like the Valley of the Kings, so like the Egyptian pyramids, none of them have hieroglyphs inside of them. Like if you go to the Valley of the Kings, it's literally floor to ceiling and glyphs and paintings and everything. It looks really obvious like a tomb. But the pyramids are nothing. Blank walls. It's honestly, it looks like a technology of some kind. Like there's people that talk about ancient pyramid power plant and other wild ideas. But if you go through and walk through the internal structure and layout of it, it is bizarre. It's not like a maze. Like, because that's what people think. Well, they're trying to hide the pharaoh in it so it won't get robbed. And the reason why there's no mummies is because they got robbed.
Right.
But like, what people don't realize is that you pretty much to go in them, you go down and you go up and you're at the king's chamber. There's no maze. There's no like blocks in your way to like hide, to hide. It's not like that. It's almost, and this is total wild conspiracy stuff, but it looks like they channeled water in it and used it for energy. This is fun.
That's what I was going to ask you. Maybe there were power plants.
If there was one idea that made the most sense, it's that. There's this engineer, aerospace engineer, Christopher Dunn, that wrote some books on it. It's a wild concept. It might not be true, but if you look at the biggest things we build today, hydroelectric dams.
Yeah.
And it has a purpose. Exactly.
It has a purpose. Yeah.
And so like I know some people will be listening think, well, this is stupid. Like, what's he talking about? Like, go visit the Great Pyramid and tell me if it makes sense that it's a tomb. It just doesn't look like it.
Yeah, that's a big ass gravesite.
Yeah.
To put like a couple people in there?
Right. It doesn't make sense, and like there's all kinds of
That's probably a lie manufactured to keep us from knowing what those pyramids were actually there for.
You want to hear something fun?
Yeah.
Is that theory about it being a tomb for the pharaoh wasn't even created until Western invaders went in there in the mid and late 1800s. People from France, England, and Germany.
France again, huh?
Yeah. And the Germans, they went in there. Like, this is tomb. Do I sound like a Nazi?
Yeah, just like one.
Yeah, it's not helping your case here.
Look, everybody, inflation is out of control, and this problem's only going to get worse. Can't have all your eggs in one basket, especially when you got people like Sleepy Joe holding the basket in the White House. That's why me and Kevin are always diversifying our assets. That's the kind of diversity, equity, and inclusion we like.
Yeah. The value of silver, gold has been steadily rising, while the value of the American dollar has been falling. Because what?
Inflation.
Because our government
Sucks. Now, y'all, purplebar.com is changing the game, making it easy for all of us to protect our financial futures.
Look how cool these gold and silver bars are. Patriotic engraving on there too.
Look real nice. The bars are perforated so they can easily break apart and can be conveniently exchanged if the dollar collapses. Go to purplebar.com and use promo code Hodgetwins and you get 5% off gold bars. And you get 10% off silver bars. Yeah.
Hey, dude, I was watching one of your videos. They were showing people underwater and looked like these huge steps you could go up.
Yeah.
Chris, will you please bring this up? Type in Yona Guni in Google Images. YONA GUNI.
Damn.
Just type in Yona Guni, and this will blow some minds.
Where is this at?
This is off an island off the coast of Japan. It's actually closer to Taiwan, but it's a Japanese island. Bring up photos of this and get ready to be wowed, as it's like no other site anywhere on Earth. And so there's a few, not the pyramid, that's fake. Type in steps. Type in Yonaguni steps or Yonaguni underwater monument.
I don't even know how to spell that.
It's Oh, you got to go to Japan. Have you been in Japan?
Why does Google have it? I've been to Australia.
Yeah?
I've been to Australia.
I heard Australia sucks. I heard it's all Western. I heard it's like full of just
The
Western restaurants.
architecture is nice, but the food's great. But
You got to go to Japan. I went there in March.
get
It
some
is-
of that long time action.
Yeah. Guys, don't get me distracted here. Dude, Japan, I swear to God, everyone listening should make it a point to travel to Japan because it is the most modern civilization in the world.
China too, right?
Probably. I won't go to China.
Yeah, it's communist. Yeah.
Yeah, after I won't give them my money. After what guys, remember like a year and a half after our lockdowns ended and they were locking people up in their apartments? When I saw that, what's happened to the Uyghur people, I will not travel to that I'm not giving them my dollar.
Right.
It breaks my heart, and I feel for the Chinese people, but like I'd be scared to go there because what if something happened in the world and they locked it down and I couldn't leave?
Right.
They're gonna be nice to Jimmy the American? Like,
Right.
I don't think so. And we don't got when Trump was in, and at one point, like there was a certain. If you were an American, you got in trouble overseas, you'd almost be looked after, like the embassies and everything. But now this world is so dicey, people probably just spit on you.
Right.
But Japan is one of the safest places on Earth right now, which is unbelievable because it has some of the most populated cities in the world. In fact, Tokyo is the #1 most populated city in the world, and it's one of the safest. They have almost no violent crime or theft of any kind.
There's no diversity there.
That's what a lot of people say, and it's true. There's no diversity.
If you want a nice, safe area, it cannot
You got to
be
stand
diverse.
for something. Everybody has to stand for something.
It cannot be diverse. Because when
You got
bring in-
everybody's walks of life and culture.
when you bring a bunch of different people together, they want to push their way of life, and it just causes disagreements and biases and prejudices.
Which is sad, but it's kind of like human nature.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I would tell people to travel to Japan just to see that how the most populated cities on Earth are some of the most functional. They have this amazing high-speed rail system. The food is high quality. Everything is clean. You won't find a single cigarette butt. Like, everything is prideful and it's immaculate. And I just think that it needs to be a case study because as we see the Western world fall apart, from the United States, Europe, everywhere is falling apart. And yet they somehow got this little secret going on there where like they got it on lock.
Right.
And I think it's just worthy of people looking at because I'm like, as the world falls apart more and more, as it clearly looks like it's going to, people should look at what they're doing in Japan and how they're doing it because they have a unity there that is so unique.
Wow.
Yeah. There's no black, no white. Everybody's just.
People mind their own business. I've never felt so safe in my life walking down the street. I'm always nervous when I'm traveling around different parts of the world. Like, you got to look out, you got to keep an eye on your back, because you don't know. They'll prey on an American. And, but there, not even for a fraction of a second did I feel unsafe. And I walked around the city at night. It was just me and my lady, and we were blown away. But we'd already been told this ahead of time. Like, it's so safe, it's going to astonish you. People won't even make eye contact with you. There's no one's trying to show you up. It's like this respect thing. They don't make eye contact when you're walking down the street.
I should take you in the hood to the club. Everybody's trying to make eye contact.
Yeah.
And if you look at them wrong, you might get shot.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's go to this place.
Show this Yonaguni. Type in. Okay, so all of that. Any one of those photos is good to go. This is a real structure. It's right off the coastline, and between that and click on some of the pictures that have steps. Basically, it looks like an ancient quarry. And what's so wild about this is that this site was above water 12,000 years ago, before the flood that we were talking about, where the
Right.
Earth sea levels rose 400 feet.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one right there.
Yeah, click on that one. That's just a map, but it gives you an understanding of what it looks like. Nothing about this looks natural, and that's what they say, is that all the archaeologists say, well, it's probably just some sort of fluke natural erosion.
That's nowhere in hell. Look how straight those lines are.
Right.
Yeah.
Click on that one at the top with the steps, the dark blue one at the top on the second to the right. Yeah, that one too. Yeah, compare it to scuba divers. It is like no other site on Earth. So this is what I've been saying. I'm saying it looks like some sort of ancient quarry. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it does look like it was altered by the hand of man. And people will,
Right.
the skeptics will say, well, there's no evidence that it's human. And I say, okay, well then show me just one other site anywhere else on Earth that is even remotely comparable to it. If you're saying this is natural erosion caused by the tides, then okay, just show me one other example. I mathed it out. I looked. There's over 1.5 million miles of global coastline between all 7 continents and all the islands of the world combined. This site is just a couple hundred meters long. Find me just one other site on Earth that looks even remotely similar to this, and you won't find it.
That looked like
Click that one.
That looked like Superman's house.
Right?
No, Superman.
Look at that.
It does.
Look, it looks like steps right there. It's actually smaller, so it's not really steps, but it's like, how does the ocean current and tides form straight lines like that?
Right. Don't that look like Krypton in that movie? Yeah, you remember Superman when he went to his house to get those crystals and he led those people that was in the black suits?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's nowhere in hell that's
not
erosion.
natural.
That's what I'm
lines are
saying.
Straight. Yeah.
You know, people, again, this is where the fierce debate comes in with archaeologists. Like, but I'm like, I tell people, I'm like, just look and think for yourself. Like, does it make sense?
Yeah.
And again, if you want to say that it's erosion, then okay, then show me some scientific proof, i.e., another example from somewhere else on Earth where you could corroborate that.
Yeah.
So we had several advanced from my purview. It looks like there were several civilizations that was far more advanced than we thought prior.
Probably, or maybe it was a global civilization that spanned the continents. I don't know.
How old is that? That's how many years old?
Well, how old it is unknown. But we do know is that the last time it was above water 12,000 years ago, which is the same time that flood happened. It's called, and people that are wondering what I'm talking about, it's called the Younger Dryas Climate Catastrophe. This is mainstream science. Yeah. The Earth heated up drastically at the rapid end of the last ice age, approximately 12,800 years ago. And then it got cold again 11,600 years ago, or it was cold in that period of time, I should say. I got that backwards. But in that window, the Earth's sea levels had risen dramatically, 400 feet. And so how old that site is unknown, but it was above water at that same period of time.
Right.
And it looks like a quarry. And I'm not saying it is a quarry. I'm just trying to come up with something that would make any level of sense.
Right.
I'm not saying it was a house.
How many years is this before Christ?
10,000 years. But that's what they say. If you look at, like, again, I'm not a Bible thumper, but I'll bring it up. They talk about people living thousands of years old. The Sumerians said it too. So let me say this. The world's first civilization, known, I should say, documented civilization, is the Sumerians out of ancient Mesopotamia. The cradle of civilization, as they call it. And they describe on their king's list that people were living for tens of thousands of years. Now, that might not be true at all. Obviously, that's all. It's hard to wrap your head around that, right?
Right.
But
I wouldn't want to live that long. I'm like, man, I just want to die.
unless you're healthy, though. That's what I tell people.
Yeah,
like,
if you're in great health,
what if you feel good?
Well, Keith, look at the things they got nowadays. They're actually taking a pig's heart, putting it in people. You can actually take a pill to get a better erection. These people lived 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
They were high T.
Yeah.
They had the testosterone. Keep going.
I don't know what to think, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, look into the details. There is abundance of proof that ancients were global, far more in the distant past than 1492 when Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and far more advanced than what we were taught. How old, how advanced, that's the debatable part, but what's written, we're taught in school, has been debunked. If you look into the nuanced details, there's things that were achieved that is inexplicable for what we were taught. And that's why people, whether it's the Rogans or the Tucker Carlsons that are speaking out about this, if you dig into the details, it's really, really awesome.
Right. Us celebrating Christopher Columbus makes us like,
Freaking idiots.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say we're not an advanced society celebrating Christopher Columbus. Republicans, yeah.
Christopher Columbus was a Democrat. You need to understand this.
He was,
he was a raging Democrat. He was a liberal.
That guy that was blowing up people, the Uni Bomber, he was like far right. He's very anti.
He's a far right
Ted
environmentalist. Yeah.
Dude, have you looked into what he wrote?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
I read it.
This was the biggest mindfuck when I came across that.
Yeah.
He was, listen, all right, let's just get it out of the way. Yeah. What he did was wrong. Don't mail bombs. Like that.
Right.
It breaks my heart that he did it.
He was blowing up liberals.
Yeah. Yeah. But he knew something. So he was writing about in the late 1980s that AI was going to destroy civilization. And I'm like, guys, nobody was talking about AI in 1988 or 89.
He's a mathematician, right?
Yes, he was an MIT guy.
Very small guy.
Part of Operation or MK Ultra. If you look into all those details there, it's strong evidence that he was a victim of that.
Right,
and he was a next level genius. And what's so interesting is that if you put aside what he did, like I don't condone, don't mail bombs. Like it's if he hadn't done, it breaks my heart that he did it because I'm like he could be around. He died in prison, but if he had been around, his brain, his knowledge, and his insight could have played a part in helping us. Because what he did do, if he hadn't mailed the bombs, that Communist Manifesto wouldn't have been printed. But he didn't apparently foresee that the internet would have allowed him to have a YouTube channel where he could have told billions of people whatever.
Right.
But when you look at the technology part, I'm like. And we were talking about a few minutes ago, I'm like, this technology doesn't seem to be making us happier. I honestly, you know what I want to do is save up enough money, get a plot of land, and just garden, get my hands dirty, and maybe raise some animals. And it seems like that's like the good life. I'm looking at that as like heaven. Sorry if I spit on your table.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? With all the technology you got, we should be flourishing.
Right.
We should be more happy. We should be more friendly to one another. But it's like it's the direct opposite is happening.
How did he know it was going to be so bad? That's the part that, I'm like, did he know something that he didn't end up sharing? Because, he was so certain that technology was going to destroy us. Yeah. He was adamant. He wasn't like, I think it will. He was like, it's going to, and you need to know. And his ambitions of what he did was, in his way, thinking that he was going to try to save that from happening.
Yeah,
or something.
He's probably a fan of that Planet Apes movie.
Yeah, he probably was watching on repeat in that Montana cabin.
And then that one book by Thomas Orwell. Was it Thomas Orwell?
Yeah.
I don't think it's Thomas Orwell.
No, it's not Thomas. It's Orwell. Something.
Yeah, Orwell. I know it. Either way, he wrote that in
I screwed it up before I put Thomas in there.
Totally George Bushed it.
Yeah. Or how did I know his first name? But Orwell. That's all you need to know. Wrote that in 1948, and that was like a blueprint.
I still haven't read that.
Me either. I know the Cliff Notes. It's like he got X, Y, and Z right. That's all I need. If I haven't actually read it.
Right. Yeah. I was going to read it, but I was like, man, this dude's too smart to read.
You don't want to read it. You don't want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The robots are going to kill us. But he did describe a dystopian future like this. That's, like a world totalitarian landscape of utter control over every aspect of your life.
Have you seen the robots that Elon Musk has built?
Yeah, they need to break those. I don't know if I've seen ones he built. I saw ones by Boston Dynamic or something. Those dogs that are like jumping and doing backflips. And not just the dogs, the other stand-up robots.
I saw a couple robots where the robot gets out and a dude bangs his head. They had programmed the robot not to shoot a human, but to shoot.
Was that fake?
That was real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was real.
Imagine what kind of robots they got going on underground too, like at Area 51 or whatever, or some secret base, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 was ahead of its time. That's what's happening. You need your guns won't matter. By the way, random thought, but you guys are patriots.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird that we still all got our guns? Like they ain't gonna be able to take them, but it's almost like they're not even trying though.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like, and so if you look at it, if we couldn't take over Vietnam, if we couldn't take over Iraq, if we couldn't take over Afghanistan, China, whoever, Russia, et al., none of them have a chance to take over the United States. It's too big. There's more guns than people. I think there's like 1 million or 100 million ARs. There's 300-something million guns.
I got 6 guns in my house. I got 3 ARs and a bunch of pistols.
You need more than that. Yeah. You got a revolver?
No revolver.
Gotta have a revolver.
Those never jam, huh?
Technically you can, but it's extremely rare, and it's usually if it's overheated, like it's super rare. That's old reliable, because even if you have a bad round, just keep pulling the trigger. You can use it in your pocket, because imagine if you're walking down the street and you think something bad's about to happen to you. These guys are walking towards you. If you pull out your gun, you're getting an aggravated assault charge. You're going to prison.
Right.
You might not have time to pull it. So it's one of those things where it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Right.
But if you have a revolver, like say if you had a sweater pocket, and it was a small, like, snub-nosed revolver, you could have it in there with your hand on it. They won't know. You're not breaking any crime.
Right.
But if you're in a scuffle, and that's another reason. So, like, a semi-automatic, if you put it against somebody's body and pull the trigger, most of the manufacturers, it will malfunction. You will get one round off. You're not going to get a second, depending. Or if you're in if you limp wrist a semi-auto will malfunction.
Right.
That's not a problem with a revolver. Like there's a saying that there's two types of people that use revolvers: beginners and experts. I'm a huge like I have my gun next to my bed is a Glock. But when it comes to like concealed carry, like I do have semi-autos, but I do fluctuate from some small revolvers because it's old reliable.
Yeah.
No matter it's gonna work.
When you feel like Clint, you go out to Clint Eastwood. You go out there with the revolver.
Yeah. But that's the thing that I was saying about. It's like, if you guys want to talk about doomsday stuff, like they haven't taken the guns, they have no chance of doing it. It's impossible. They'll never be able to do it. It's not happening. I'm not giving up mine. You guys aren't.
They just want to appease the left by making it look like they're trying to do that.
Yeah. So that's why. Here's what they really would do: is that they would let us destroy ourselves by turning off the lights. Like if they did a grid down scenario, make it look like hackers, or blame it on Russia, do whatever.
Dude, they made a movie about that. It's an Obama movie.
Yes.
On Netflix. What was it called?
Yeah, I know exactly. I've watched it. It sucked. But like, why is he producing a movie about a grid down scenario?
Yeah.
I mean, why? Why is a former president doing that?
Right.
And it's almost like predictive programming, because it seems like that would be the card to play. If you wanted to destroy the United States, let's just say if China wants to destroy the United States, which I believe that they do. I think they're orchestrating most things that are happening in the world. I could be wrong, but I think that if you look at their Agenda 2048 plan, it's in writing. They talk about being the world's superpower in every facet: economic, military, everything. And if you look at the Art of War, written thousands of years ago by Sun Tzu, that's what it talks about, is that you defeat your enemy without firing a shot.
Right.
And so if they wanted to turn off the lights, the city water pumps go down. There's no more pumping fuel. Pharmaceutical drugs are not being, supply chain complete collapse. And within literal weeks or months, you could have the population in half or even far less.
It would be every man for himself, because everybody would be fighting for supplies.
Right? All these people, it will be the people of the haves and the have-nots. So if you're a prepper, someone's going to come there'll be marauders. Like, people would do things that they never thought they were capable of. Like if they see their children dying, somebody out there will kill somebody to keep their children alive.
Right. Yeah.
So I think, and this is why I like to tell people, is like, become a prepper. Like, you should have water, ammo, food.
Lots of ammo.
Lots.
Lots. It's like gold.
Yeah, because you could barter with that. That would be currency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love prep talk. So to me, it's fun. I've watched enough apocalyptic movies where it's like, I think I could do all right. I'll scavenge. This will be the good life. No more responsibility. It'll be terrible, realistically, but like, it's not funny. But like,
horrible.
Yeah, it'd be completely terrible. I'll be crying.
Kids killing people for no reason. Hey, he's got some food over there.
Yeah. Community was what will save people. Like, you got to have a tight community. You got to be cool with your neighbors. Yeah. You got to look out for each other, things like that.
Yeah, shit. I don't know none of my neighbors. I don't know none of them fools.
The neighbors taking you out.
Nah. I'll take them out before they take me out.
That's the trick. That's how you survive.
Yeah.
You got to start a gang. You declare yourself the governor. Right. Take over your neighborhood. Be like, there are rules now.
Where did I see that at?
The Walking Dead. I'm the governor.
Yep. The guy was like a janitor manager or whatever, and then all of a sudden he's a fucking governor, just thriving at the end of the world. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if there's anything I've learned in my studies about the ancients, is that ancient cataclysms do happen. There's been resets throughout human history. Like, if human beings, as the same size cranial cavity we have today, date back over 300,000 years, and we're just talking about how advanced we got in like 100 years, there's been all kinds of cataclysmic events that have happened between now and that 300,000 years ago. There's been deep freezes on and off over that period of time. There's been super volcanoes that have gone off, and
asteroid strikes.
Right? All kinds of things. And so whether it's hackers or just a solar flare or a cosmic impact or, a super volcano, there's so many things that have happened throughout history that will happen again. And so I try to advocate for people to be preppers, because it gives you a sense of contentment. That if shit hits the fan that's out of your, control, at least you'll be good for a little bit. And there's something about that. Because I know, as I see the world spiral, and I'm concerned about the future, at least I know I'm like, well, I'll be good for a little bit. And it leads me to at least be able to accept that, even if things get really, really bad and if I don't make it through, at least I tried.
Yeah. The most basic things we take it for granted, like electricity,
Right?
knowing how to start a fire. It's the difference between life and death.
Even potable water. If the grid goes down, the city water pumps will fail, and the sanitizing of the water will
be
fail.
contaminated. Huh?
Yeah, people will die of waterborne illness, or at least get so sick they'll be incapacitated for weeks because they can't get antibiotics to cure themselves, and they'll be down and out. And if it happens in the summer, like out here in Vegas or where I live in Phoenix, oh my God.
You're cook.
You're going to die because you couldn't even keep water down. Like I've watched these survival shows. You watch like the show Alone.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
That's the best one. How many times have you seen, it's every season, somebody gets pulled out because they drink a sip of water without boiling it and they're violently ill like a few hours later.
Yeah. Just to get a toothache, abscesses in your mouth.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Literally, a toothache. Yeah, get infected without antibiotics, you're donezo.
Yeah. Yeah, like in the early, about 300 years ago, people just dying off of basic shit like a toothache.
Yeah. A scratch.
Hey, so things are getting really bad, right? What do you think is going to happen this next upcoming election?
I mean, if Trump doesn't win this election, it has to be rigged.
Right.
Because he performed so bad, Joe Biden, during his debate. I was like, who would vote for that?
Yeah, and inflation and just so many problems with the country. There's so many people I see just not voting for Joe.
Right.
Or switching to Trump this election.
Hey, I have liberal friends. My brother's wife at one point said she would never vote for Trump. And, she didn't vote for Clinton or Biden, but she was just not voting for Trump. Once he got arrested that first time, that was it for her because she's a sane person. She's not super liberal, but she just grew up in a way that she just didn't like him, and that's fine. But she's like, I'm not going to vote for him. But after seeing that arrest, as a sane, intelligent person, she's like, oh, this has gone too far. Like anyone with a brain can see, like, okay, this is next level. Like we're in trouble here. And so she's not the only one. There's people that are going to vote for him that never would have.
Right. And Democrats have pretty much hijacked that term liberal. I don't think you can call those people liberal anymore.
No, they're radical. They're crazy.
Progressive.
Yeah, because like
that's the euphemism for them.
There's things going on. The liberals back in the day would never have gone this far left ever.
Yeah,
not even close. So here's what I really think is that this is my little conspiracy. Obviously, they're going to try to weaponize the illegal voters. They're going to use that. They're going to allow them to vote. You're seeing this stuff that's happening right now. They're going to try to allow them to vote.
Right.
I don't even think that'll be enough to throw the election. I think that Trump is going to win such a landslide. Those illegals that will show up to vote won't be enough.
Right.
But even if, regardless, I think they'll use the same tactics they did before, whether it's mail-in voting, the machines, the electronic machines, whatever it is. But there's another possibility, which is that there is no election, that they do some sort of, let's just say, okay, so you see all these people coming across the border that are like known to be terrorist cell.
Right.
You have them, this is so awful to even say out loud, but like they do some sort of mass shooting event the day of the election, and all of a sudden it's canceled. You have to close it all down. They do it in multiple states all at the same time. Everything gets shut down. I don't know. Like it's you got to think like these evil people that are willing to do anything. These same evil people. They invaded Iraq and killed 500,000 women and children and 1 million other people, for a lie. Like, these people will do anything. Like a lot of people listening, some people don't think that people are that evil, but it's like, no, there's people out there that if you gave them a button to blow up the world right now, they would push it. There's certain people out there that would do that. And so
a lot of people don't know that the Bush family, they profited off that war in Iraq.
Yeah.
Made a lot of money off of that.
Oh,
people in your own government profited from that.
You want to know something wild that no one talks about? So everyone talked about with the invasion involving, Dick Cheney with Halliburton and the oil and all that. If you really want to go down a rabbit hole, so you guys do you remember KBR? Did you have Kellogg Brown and Root for food in the military? Like they do all the...
It's been a while.
Yeah.
So like in Iraq and Afghanistan, the company that supplied all the housing and all the food and the logistics for the military forces going back and forth.
MREs and stuff like that?
Yeah. And just the chow halls called KBR, Kellogg Brown and Root. No bid contracts, billions and billions of dollars that were overspent. Well, a lot of people don't realize that the CEO, or was it the vice president of Halliburton before the 2000 election was Dick Cheney. He ran that company. A lot of people don't know this. Everyone talks about Halliburton. I'm like, don't look at Halliburton. Look at KBR, Kellogg Brown and Root, and Dick Cheney was the CEO or vice president. I'm getting that. He was high up there.
He was high up.
And then fast forward 3 years later, He stepped down right before the election of 2000. 3 years later, we invade Iraq, and KBR gets the no-bid contract for hundreds of billions of dollars over the course of like a decade.
That's a huge conflict of interest.
It is. I'd like to know how many did he? Even though he stepped down, did he still own any stocks in that company?
Yeah.
Did he? I don't. It's just a question.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I tell people, I'm like, if you want a real conspiracy, follow the money. We didn't take their oil. Like, we didn't ultimately take it. That's what everyone was saying.
Right.
Oh, they're going to steal their oil. Like, no, it's still there. Like, they're not, it's like, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you is that a lot of people made some real cheddar in that little operation.
It's like, people made money off that vaccine. It's just this cabal of people. The global elites are making money off everybody's pain and
And
suffering.
for anybody to sit back and not to see that there's a huge conflict with Joe Biden's son getting all those contracts when he was vice president. Oh, he's experienced. I was like, no, he's a crackhead.
Yeah.
He got kicked out of the military. He has no knowledge in these fields, and he's getting paid millions of dollars to be on the boards.
That was so flagrant. Like,
It's
anyone
so
with a
flagrant,
brain.
and people on the left don't even see it. It's so crazy.
It's because they don't want to see it. Or that, or they're dumb. Like, I honestly, like, a lot of these people that are proudfully, like, anyone that's proudfully going to vote for Biden.
Yeah,
is,
you're dumb.
Yeah.
It's a capacity thing.
Right. Like,
Or you just
really,
not paying attention.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like, how could you be so, I don't know.
Lost.
Yeah.
Just
So either
lost.
you're corrupt yourself and because some people don't care. Some people think it's fun to break the law and like just be, some people half those people in Washington, I think, just get a thrill out of it. It's like watching the show House of Cards. Like, there's people that like that stuff. Like, it's shady behavior, and some people, like, it's gangster activity, and that's fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, getting in trouble can be fun, or like breaking the rules can be fun. Doesn't mean it's right, but like, it's like why kids like, getting in a bunch of trouble. It's just a adrenaline thing. It's just like, oh, it feels good to break the rules sometimes. And some people allow it to like shift their entire moral compass, and they're just all in. Like, they don't care. Like, there's
It's like team sports. It's so tribal, both sides. And it's like, you're a Democrat. No, this is my team. I'm going to stay with them regardless of whatever they do. It's like a team sport now.
Yeah.
People don't think. No, I'm a Democrat.
Man, I tell you like this: if Joe Biden got arrested over some stupid shit, I was like, hold up, I mean, they just went into the president's home, raided his house. Yeah, he's a criminal, and they don't see this shit's crazy. They raided a former president's house.
real quick.
Never happened.
I know, that was messed up. I'm curious, though. I didn't ask you guys.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen with this election?
I think it's. I thought he won the last election, but I was thinking Trump's going to win this election. I think it was going to be like Montel versus and Reagan. It was just going to be a landslide.
Right.
But if they could pull off what they did last election, they can pull it off again. And I hope. I don't think they can
pull it off, because if Trump doesn't win this next election, it's got to be rigged. Who the hell would vote for Joe Biden and his family?
Do you think they're going to replace him?
I think it's too late to.
Because his name's already on the ballot. They can't pull him.
No?
That's what they say.
I feel like they have a curveball coming. I feel like, all right, so
they
like,
do, don't they?
I think they're going to pull Big Mike out.
that's, honestly, probably.
Big Mike and Oprah.
Yeah. The thing is, though,
Two black women.
you must vote for them.
No. I'm getting the hell out of here. I will leave this guy.
And The Rock. We got The Rock as the chief of staff, I don't know. I feel like, all right, so like, I think that COVID was the artifice in order to facilitate a stolen 2020. And that was a curveball. Nobody saw that coming. No one was like, they're going to do a pandemic. Like, it just kind of came out of left field. So much so that people were like believing it early on. Like, how serious is this? So I think, because these people are so cunning, they'll do something out of left field we didn't see coming. And that's the reason why I mentioned like some sort of crazy,
No election.
Yeah, like some sort of next level 9/11 attack. If you just had a bunch of gunmen show up in 50 states all at once, that would shut everything down.
Yeah, have them out there shooting up voting booths.
Yeah, show up.
People can't vote, and they shut down all elections. They help save and preserve people's lives, and Joe Biden stays in, and then I forget what amendment they used to get rid of him because he's a nutbag, and they replace him with somebody else.
25th, I think, or something.
Yeah, I think it's Amendment 25, yeah.
Well, let's don't give them any ideas.
No. Well, whatever it is, they must already know what they're going to do, because I'm convinced they have to be all in. Like these people, some of these people, if you look at like the treasonous activity they did, in the Pride organization, like with under Obama and everyone else, I'm like, I think these people are all in. Like they have to try to steal it because they're going to prison.
Dude, when I was a Democrat, I was like, oh man, this is beautiful. We got a black president. This country's came so far. Everything's been downhill since him.
Do you think? I think that guy was a Manchurian candidate.
I think he was set up to win. Look at the people he's running against.
What was his name? Romney and McCain, two
Oh, my
Democrats.
God.
They're pretty much two Democrats. We had to vote for Romney.
Right. I voted for him.
Yeah, I did too.
It's hard to say it out loud, and I voted for McCain in like the primary or whatever it was. I'm like,
I voted for Obama's first term and second term. I said, yep. I totally started to see the light, and I voted for Romney.
yeah.
But
And that guy, man, what a scoundrel that fucking guy
What a
is.
scumbag.
Yeah. Fuck him. Yeah.
And he's Mormon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's Mormon. Yeah, he's Mormon. Right. He pretends to be. He's nothing. He doesn't. Nothing about him is Christian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that guy's a liar. Like I've listened to him. He has told flagrant lies. Like I'm like, I already know what you're saying is verifiably false. And look at you. It's funny seeing the look in some people's faces when you know that they're lying, just to see what they look like. Oh, so that's what you look like when you lie.
Yeah.
You liar.
Yeah. That press secretary, man, she tells brazen lies every day with a straight face.
Yeah, she's having a good
like-
time. I think she enjoys it.
Yeah, I think she does.
She's
Yeah.
the White
Evil
House press
people.
secretary. Yeah, she's
Ain't
like, this is
nobody
fun.
better to pick than a black woman for that job. I can't call her out. She's black. You're racist if you say anything.
And she's gay.
Is she?
Yeah.
I think, she's gay.
Got a nice looking white wife.
Does she?
Yeah, she got good taste in women.
Chris, bring her up right away. Let's get her on the screen. We gotta see if we can forgive her.
I don't think she's.
Yeah, it's a white woman. Yeah.
No.
You think she's gonna marry a black woman?
I can't remember her name either.
But they type in
Jean-
black press secretary's wife.
Now, what's the name? I should know her name.
Yeah, I know it. I know it.
she's
It's
nobody.
Jean
Pierre.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I never even say it out loud.
Yeah, she is so annoying. And she's got to read all her answers from her.
Yeah. Where's her wife at?
Is she married? I don't think she's got a white wife.
Yeah, that's her right there in the green, ain't it?
What?
That's her wife.
Is that really? Does it say wife? Is that her?
Oh, they broke up.
Mm-hmm.
Shit didn't even last.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked at the statistics on relationships between gay women?
What?
It ends in a train wreck. This old saying, you never can have two women in one house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's been great talking to you, Jamie. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah.
It's been a great pleasure. I have a YouTube channel and a Rumble channel called Bright Insight. I highly recommend people follow me on Rumble. Rumble's been awesome. They've been so good to me.
Okay.
If you want to support me, I'm on Locals, which is tied to the Rumble, but I'm also on X. I'm trying to grow that. Bright Insight 6 or just Jimmy Corsetti. And you guys, it's been a great pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
Man. We went down quite a few rabbit holes today.
We solved the world's problems.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't forget to prep. You guys are in so much trouble. I should say, let me just, on a positive note, I'm actually very optimistic for the future. I do believe things will get worse before they get better, and it could get a lot worse. I think that dire times could come. However, I do believe that the human spirit will triumph, and I do believe that good defeats evil. And over in the long term, I think we'll look back and things will be better than ever. It just people should just be cognizant and aware of things that could happen between now and then. But I am definitely a believer that things will one day get better.
Yeah. Yeah, you give me hope.
Yeah,
Give me hope, Jimmy. Thanks, bro.
pleasure.
Pleasure. That was a damn good show.
I should have worn a different shirt. I was sweating through this fucking thing. I was like, God damn it! Oh, that's so bad. Oh my God.